Video's recording. Audio's recording. It's time. Here comes the intro in 3, 2, 1.
Looks like someone needs to brush up on their English.
Go straight and turn right. Go, go, go. Go your way. And believe in yourself.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Core. This is Core for Thursday, January 11th, 2024. I'm Scott Johnson with Beau Schwartz and John Jagger. We're here to talk about gaming, games, and all the things around the games. And we're glad to be back. Yeah, second episode of the year. Feels like yesterday that we were just starting the show. We realized right before the show we're pushing 10 years. That seems insane to say that out loud, but we are.
Yep. A decade of Core.
Yeah. I mean, when did Heroes come out? 2014, I think. And then that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it was about 2014. So yeah, we got about a year and change.
Yeah,
since we started the show.
I don't love it. No, sir, I don't. Well, I do actually. I like the longevity of this. I like that we're killing it and we're doing great. All those things are good, but I don't like being reminded how much time passes and how quickly it goes.
No.
And Beau, I like your gray hair. I think you should embrace it.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I want to rub my fingers through it right now. Not really. I don't want to do that. Don't give me a tub to lick either. All right, moving on. We've been through all that. Check out our pre-show patrons. You'll hear all about that. Anyway, so I was curious before we get going here today, if you guys experienced this ever. This is something I experienced this week, and I didn't quite expect it. So as a lot of people know, or if you look at my status on Steam, I have been playing a lot of Shapez with a Z. The first version of the game. The good news is the demo for 2 hits on the 25th, so only a week and a half. We just found out about that today. And I'm very excited about the sequel to this game. But I've been playing it kind of nonstop.
We being you and the Shapez community that you're
Correct.
a part of.
Correct.
Because you joined the Discord.
Correct. I'm on the Discord.
You're in the Shapez Discord. Right.
I did. I got on the Shapez Discord, and they're very nice over there. I also, the developer of Shapez reached out to me after I retweeted something they said. And that means I'm probably going to get the demo a little early, which I'm excited about, so I'll give that a shot. But I have been playing this thing like crazy, this original game, the first game, Shapez. And it is just all-consuming. I don't know what it is. Maybe automation games in general. They're a certain kind of crack for me. Once I'm playing them, it's kind of all I think about. And it's weird. And I don't understand it compared to other game genres. But anyway, the point is, I've been playing enough of it that I'm starting to get automation brain, and I think it's actually positively impacting my life and my workflow, because everything, I start thinking in these terms now. So someone says, oh, we got to do this illustration for this book. It's not due for a month, but we need preliminary sketches and blah, blah, blah. They start talking about all the stuff they need for, a deal I'm working on. This is one that I'm actually working on. And instead of me going, oh, should I do the sketches now or do them later? I don't know. Maybe I'll just wait until they, blah, 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 blah. I start thinking in real basic terms. When I play games like this, I start thinking, well, if I start it now, then it can go this long in so many days. And then essentially I'm seeing it almost visually, like how long it will take is like a conveyor belt. And where it connects to the next phase of the project is like an intake feeder thing that takes my ideas and feeds them into the next set of belts and then combines them with whatever has to happen with this combiner thing, this stacker thing that I picture in my head, but really it's just like practical life that I'm doing. And it's all because this automation stuff's like inspiring, or somehow puts my head in like a process mode of do these things in this order. That's the most efficient. You'll get the most done by then because you did bep, bep, bep. And if you don't, it's okay. You can go back and change your process and redo it, just like I can in Shapez with a Z,
Does it help you procrastinate less?
Yeah.
Procrastinate less?
It does. It helps me be more prepared. I feel like I've got way more ready for this particular project and other stuff I have going on. I think about it with show stuff. Today, I'm prepping things that I prep on my end for this show, and it's stuff like stream background and what's the intro going to be and get album art ready, or not, post art ready, and all this stuff. Make sure the streams are scheduled. And I'm way better now. I can't explain this very well, but I feel like I'm more efficient at even that thing I have to do on a Thursday, because I'm thinking about it in that way. of like, you start here, it goes to that, it needs to branch out 3 different ways, it needs to pull this in from over here, combine those 2 things, and then at the end I've got the perfect little product and I achieved my goal. It's weird, I know, but I was curious if this is just a me thing. So like, Beau, when you were like super obsessed and playing Dyson Sphere Program, did you think that way, or is this a me thing and I'm just weird?
I want to say my problem isn't structure. Let's say that.
Oh,
so
all right.
It's procrastinating. That's why I asked. Does it help? Did you find it helped with procrastinating? Because I can be pretty structured. Like I've done a lot of management stuff.
Yeah.
In my day job, so but I can see a game benefiting from it. I don't feel that way about Dyson, but let's say a game like Civilization.
Good point.
Or a people management game like War Tales or something where you got to keep or banish, where your priority is not your own selfish needs, but having to keep people happy, like balancing those things. I think there's plenty of like skills to practice in games.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any to practice that much in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Or World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Or games like that. But like these management, you remember it used to be a kind of toy. You get science toys. They're supposed to help your brain develop. I have to assume there are some games that help with this kind of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that this game helps. I just feel like
it's like anything where you practice the thing, which in this case is critical thinking ahead.
You know what I've been doing? It doesn't count as a video game, so I haven't really brought it up, but I discovered Duolingo recently, and that's...
What is that?
They structure it. It's like to learn other languages.
Oh, okay.
It's not really a game, but they've structured it like a microtransaction game. Like
gamified.
You get too many errors, you don't get to play unless you pop money into the arcade machine, basically.
Weird.
Or you just pay the sub fee, which I did, and you get unlimited tries.
What are you working? What second language? Is it just 2 languages, or what's the?
I'm like doing 6. I'm annoying everybody. I'm doing like 6 languages.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Like I already know French.
Why learn one if I can learn?
And I
already know French. I'm doing Hungarian. I'm doing Korean. I'm French. I'm like repracticing. I'm doing the French ones are easy, so I can accomplish those ones because I already speak it. German, Wein und Wasser bitte. I can say a sentence.
9. I mean, yes. I didn't mean 9.
Yes, that's.
I don't know what yes is.
Yeah.
Like
9 is 9.
Yeah.
No.
9 is
bitte
9.
is please. Wein is wine. Und is and Wasser is water.
Oh.
Wein und Wasser. It's like speaking English underwater, basically. That's what German is. It's like
and very
Wein und
angrily.
Wasser bitte with some weird words.
Yeah,
bitte
and you have to sound
make sense.
pissed. You have to sound really pissed when you do it. That's the goal.
Yeah. So I got German, Hungarian, French, and then Korean. I'm just trying to learn the alphabet. And then there's math and music in there too. I popped those in as well.
Ah, the language of mathematics.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's not really a game, but like it's kind of a game. Like I got to memorize things and do little gamey things. So
Sure.
I think games can help you learn, and I think definitely those production chain games absolutely, I think, would help with structuring the order of operations.
Yeah, and they do help me. They
building a
help me
product.
because I've depends when you ask me, but some things I will procrastinate. This seems to help me not do that. Like I'm not using it for that. I'm playing it because I enjoy it. But when I'm done and I got something else I know I have to do, instead of waiting 2 days to get a certain part of it done, I'm way better now going, well, no, if I do that part now, almost like building in Shapes, you can, pre-build a nice little contraption that will, let's say, paint a shape. You need something to be yellow, so you have a little input from the shape, input from the thing. Got to make sure to rotate the shape before it goes in, because when it comes out, it's going to be this angle. And then I got to cut it at the end in 2 pieces. Okay, cool. I can build that assembly, just that chunk of it that will do the work, and then that will get duplicated like 10 times to maximize my output. But by building that first, I've got the cornerstone of what I have to get done with these circles, and that thinking is good for me. It's like, well, yeah, I can do that early. This thing I need for a show, for Greg's next episode, for example, I don't have to dread it or think about it the last day or last minute. I'm thinking more ahead, like, All right, well, we know we're having this person on, so that means we're talking these aspects of game development. So let's put aside a contraption of sorts in my own head here on the side and work on that, and then duplicate as needed or expand as needed or shrink as needed or whatever. That thinking is kicking in sooner, and I'm putting stuff off less. So I don't know if I'm not saying this is like, hey, everybody, with your ADHD and your 400 other things that make you put stuff off or forget to do a thing or whatever. I'm not saying the answer is playing Shapes with a Z. I'm just saying it's, for whatever reason, it's put my mind in that kind of track, and it's really been good for me, like in a bunch of ways. So,
well, I think it's good to practice structured thinking, so it's probably is benefiting you in that way. I believe it.
Yeah. So there's that. John, do you have anything like that where you're like,
I think the biggest one for me growing up was playing the game Myst. Like, I played that game when I was really young, and it kind of taught me that, like cause and effect thinking better than what school was trying to do. And I just remember like getting through that game at the time. I would always come back to it and that series as a whole when I think about problems. Like when I was learning how to do computer and IT issues, it was always like, that's always kind of where my brain goes back to, is like, okay, well, if this is the result you're seeing, let's follow the chain of logic back to find out what the problem is along the way. And as simple as that, is on the surface, it's something that, in my experience, not everybody does. And sometimes just the ability to follow a problem back to the source, like that is something that I've kind of carried ever since I was a big fan of the Myst series. That one really got me.
That's a good one.
As far as procrastination, though, the biggest thing that seems to help me is watching characters in TV shows that are good at not procrastinating. Like,
Really?
like I'm not even kidding. If I watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, and you show me a scene with Mike Ehrmantraut doing something, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you just do it. Why didn't I think of this before? You just do it. Or, Parks and Rec, I'm watching a lot of that right now. You watch Ron Swanson just be like, well, you just do this. You go, oh, you just do it. I guess that's the answer. And all of a sudden I will feel much more motivated by just seeing other people that are motivated.
I like that a lot.
I don't know if it's a case of like maybe, procrastination is just far too enabled. And when you see people not impacted by it, you're like, oh, I don't have to be either. I don't know what that block is for me. But yeah, there's something about watching people that can go methodically through a process that immediately makes me go, oh, I could do that.
That's
If
very.
they can do it, I can do it. I'll go do it.
Yeah, that's a lot. You're kind of, you're getting it from a different source, but you're kind of describing how this feels for me. And it's funny because I don't know why I don't think this way normally. I'm a little more from the hip kind of how I do everything. So planning ahead isn't a thing I like doing. I like improvisation. I like being, these shows, I don't edit them. They're live to hard drive. We say what we say and we put it up, for good or for ill. If one of us screws up the name of something, fine, we'll get corrected and we'll talk about it next week if it's a big deal. Like, it's just not a thing I worry too much about. But the workflow of it, or just getting a thing done that I think is going to be complicated, like you said, like if you see somebody else do it, in this case, if I see myself go, that shape's a nightmare. That's going to take 4 base shapes. I got to split them all up, rotate it, figure out what place I'm going to store those in, then reassemble them in the proper way. Instead of me just thinking about what a nightmare that road's going to be, I go, well, actually, let's just do this one shape at a time. Let me just think about, what's it going to take to get the sharp corner, left upper sharp corner part? Well, that's going to take that shape. So let's get those going. And for now, we'll dump everything in the trash that I don't need. And the one piece I pull out, we're going to store that for a second. Okay, cool. That's done. Now, let me go do the next shape. And then before I know it, I've got the 4 shapes and 90% of the work's done. Now I just have to assemble them. And it's up till that point that until I kind of take that dive, I stress about it in a small video game way. But I started to realize, well, this isn't that different than life. I mean, it is, but I don't have unlimited resources. I can't just destroy things and try again necessarily in life, but I can be more critical about my thinking. I can think ahead. I think in object-oriented ways. I don't know.
Well, it's like you're breaking down concrete tasks into small, achievable steps.
Yeah, which is also a hard thing for me.
Chain things go.
Yeah, that's been hard for me my whole life. I don't see the world that way. I see it as the beginning and the end, and all the in the middle, it just sounds like you know. So yeah. I wish I'd have had this game when I was a kid. I don't know what I would have done. Something big. I don't know. I'm probably overblowing it, but Shapes with a Z is rad.
No, I'm 100% with you. Like the figuring it out in the middle is always the hardest part. Like there's plenty of things I want to do. There's plenty of things I know what the last step is. It's that like middle area where you just have to do it. You know, it's that idea of like, oh, if I write a little bit today and I write a little bit tomorrow, eventually it snowballs up. But for whatever reason, my brain can't think of it that way. But then I get mad at myself because I think, if I had been doing that for the past week, I'd be done right now.
Yeah.
So I'm always mad retroactively. And I think shifting your brain to, instead of being mad retroactively, but just be proactive on just doing it.
Yeah.
Like that's a switch that is hard to flip for me. And every now and then I just find it just happens.
Yeah. Same. It just is happening a lot since I started being addicted to this damn freaking crack game. But anyway, Shapes.
Oh, I've been there, buddy. Those games are also bender games. Like,
yeah,
I'm having a hard time starting up Dyson Sphere, even though the new update dropped.
Yeah,
I have my mind on other things, but I know that once I like go full tilt, start getting that planet going, start getting those things going, it's gonna be like,
yeah.
I'm not working now, so who knows how long. When I'm working, that was always in my way. Like it was like 7 days, 8 days of zero sleep.
Yeah,
maybe at least I'll get more sleep. But yeah, no, that game's a big project, man.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And Shapes, like, 'cause I played a little bit of Shapes with a Z.
Mm-hmm.
You build on what you've already built, right? Like, are you at a point now where your machine is like kind of insane? Like,
I mean, it's pretty insane, but there are times where I'll go, oh, I thought that was efficient, but it sucks. So I'm going to delete all of it, not all of it, but a huge chunk of my map and redo how that stuff up there is working. And it encourages you to, because by default, the resources are unlimited. The focus is not on what things cost. It's on how you're going to get it done.
Yeah. There's also like always optimization. Like when you first build something and don't understand it as well, you're like, oh wait, I can optimize way better. So let me go back and spend 8 hours redoing a level basically or something like that, because I just know how to like make the machine a little better.
Mm-hmm. Just a small tweak sometimes is all you need. I did a thing today where I saved maybe effectively 3 inches of track and eliminated that, so it was 3 inches shorter, and it put me at my 8 item per second goal. And
I have a question for you, because one of the frustrating things about Dyson Sphere is like managing production timings. Like I tend to just like crank it. Like I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's get as much product into the refiner or the whatever it is, the assembler. But then you get these like, you starve on certain elements because they all have fabrication times or refinement times.
Right.
So it's like if making copper ore takes 12 seconds per machine, let's say a copper bar, and then making a titanium bar takes 40 seconds, and you need 2 titanium bars and 1 copper bar, then you're overproducing copper bars.
Right.
So then you got a backed up one production chain of copper bars, and you're just your machine's forever waiting for those titanium bars. And like that stuff, that's where I'm at in my like factory foo, which is like making a perfect machine that is well timed.
Right.
I'm always like bottlenecking on tons of shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like I have to whip out a calculator and do some math, and I'm like, it's a video game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to work like that.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to get better, like I would have knowledge of timings. The Shapes have a lot of those timings factors, because I haven't played it as much.
They're definitely in there. There's bottlenecks and there's slowdowns, like you're describing. But the nice thing about it is you unlock these counter components, and it basically just lets you anywhere in your supply chain literally just plop down a counter. And the counter's a number, and it will tell you what you're doing. And it, for the most part in the game, although you can unlock faster speeds on your belts later, but 8, if you're getting an input into the final goal thing, the hub, at 8 per second, that's pretty much max. You're not going to go any faster than that. Yeah. And so I put these little markers around and go, well, I'm only getting 3.5 out of this production, but this one over here, with half the machines is doing 7 point something. So why is that? Well, okay, bottlenecks probably white paint, because making white paint's a pain. Got to mix all the colors. There's time in that. So if I had 2 farms of white paint and then feed those into one output, that's enough to boost me a few, not frames per second, but a few
products
speed
per second.
points. Yeah,
You're
products per
making
second.
products basically in these games.
Yeah, so they have a lot of ways of doing it. I've yet to pull out a calculator. I refuse to do that. It's not fun.
That's when he uninstalls.
Yeah, I don't want to play that way. But the game gives you these little tools and tweaks to kind of do that, but in a visual way. It's like, well, that's only 8. Why? Well, let's see. If I zoom out, I've only got 4, and that's doing more production than the one with 8. Well, why is that slow? And then I realize, oh, it's because I wrap around it with this thing, or it's sharing an input or an output with somebody else, and I forgot I did that, or so I can remove that. Now let's see the counters. Oh, they're both at 8. Sweet. All right, so we're good there. And so there's a lot of that going on, but the game encourages that. It encourages you to say, oh, well, then wipe out that whole track because that's stupid. Now put a new one in. And it's not hard. You don't lose product when you do it. You lose maybe a little bit of time, but I mean, that's what I love about the game is it's just like this. It's not quite a sandbox, but it's kind of is. And it's also infinite. There's no edges to this world.
I zoomed out. It just seems like
it just goes forever.
There's product everywhere, like primary product to put on conveyor belts and just run everywhere.
Yeah, there's color patches.
Abstract, yeah.
You have 2 kinds of inventory. But resources. One is shapes, and the other is colors. And then there are only 3 colors. So mixing those colors in different ways is how you achieve weird color requests. And then the shapes are crazy all over the map. And so sometimes you can't find the one you need that's just the whole shape. So you found one that has on one side the square edges, but it has the points on the other side. Cool. If I get 2 packs of those or patches of those, slice those in half, and then throw away the square sides, reassemble the pokey but flipped, like a 180-degree flip on the pokies, I effectively make the shape I need myself. And if I'm efficient with that, then there's plenty of it, and I can pump that into whatever I have to do. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in that game, but in a way that is very easy to get into. And I'm absolutely freaking addicted to it. So anyway, I'm just saying.
And it's enriching your life.
Yeah. Like Satisfactory, other games like this, they're all like this, I think, to one degree or another. The reason I think I like Shapes and I prefer things like Factorio and Dyson Sphere, I like I'm out above this world kind of viewpoint. In the case of Dyson and Factorio, you're a little dude running around, so the camera is centered on you unless you use mods to change that. So you do have a slightly more limited view. What I like about Shapes is you're not a robot running around doing anything. You're just God mode. So you zoom out and go anywhere you want and build whatever you want and then go back to the place you built it.
There's no practical considerations to think about, like, oh shit, there's a lake here. Now I gotta,
Yeah.
Although sometimes that's fun because you can build over the lake and change the landscape eventually, but
yeah, that stuff, there's nothing.
There's a lot to it.
Like I say, there's nothing wrong with that. There's even a special kind of challenge to that, which I think is totally worthy. It's just not my preferred.
Although I have played some Satisfactory, considering we're doing multiplayer games, the draw of that game is that it's that loop, but multiplayer. So you work with your buddies to figure out how to do things.
I'd play that with you guys. Totally would.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it for one of our Tuesdays. Yeah. All right, well, there's that. We're going to dive into what we played this week because that's what we're going to do. We played Deep Rock Galactic together, speaking of playing together, on Tuesday. Played for a few hours, and then I noticed John and I don't know about Beau, but there was some solo play as well happening later.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I got kind of hooked back into that game, thanks to you guys, and it was super fun. Turns out Deep Rock Galactic is a rad game. And our live stream of it is archived on all of our streaming channels, so you can go see, wherever you want to watch it. And they added a lot of stuff since we last played. Let's talk about that for a second. Did you enjoy your time?
I don't know that we got to any of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess that's why we all played a little bit after.
We got to see a little bit, like the new mode where you're building pipelines. That wasn't in it when we played it the first time. I actually thought that was really cool. I still think that could almost be its own game. Like there was something so satisfying, and maybe this was a unique experience because I play as the driller, so it's very easy for me to just look at a wall and go, oh, I'll just go through the wall. But there's something extremely satisfying about the just drilling a tunnel up to a point, dropping a thing, building a pipeline that you can then grind on to get from point A to point B faster, and just building this network of like tunnels and pipelines and all of that. I would play an entire game of this, and I would give them money to do so. So if for some reason Dwarf Game people are listening to this, I know you're busy working on a Survivors like game, and I'm excited for it, but this is the game I actually want. I want like engineer tunneling through stuff and oil pipe surfing and racing through the pipes, through tunnels, and all of that. It was extremely
They could just
fun.
put that in DRG though, right? Like just more.
You do a mode or something.
Pipes.
Yeah, or do a mode. Like, I mean, I came away with two impressions. One, that would be a rad mode. John's not wrong. I loved it. It's like playing Factorio, but in Dwarf Game. And having that, just expand that out and have you really connect the whole place and build out shit and have resources and all that. That sounds really fun. But the other thing was, make those jump boots that we found in those chests, make that freaking standard on every one of these dwarves.
Yeah, they really are good.
They're so good. And I don't think they didn't diminish the gameplay. They didn't make me go, oh, now it's too easy. It didn't do that. It just made me have more fun when I had those boots on. So more boots, please.
Yeah, but it does trivialize some of the class abilities. Like, I mean, I agree. The game is better when you have them. But, if you're the guy that shoots little conveyor things, like...
Yeah.
Or the jump pads.
Yeah, that is me.
Or jump pads, everybody's like, we don't need you here. We can just jet where we need to go. Play a different class.
That is true. I don't know if that would be so bad though. Like 4 gunners would be maybe a little overkill. Because you'd just be too, but maybe that would be fun to try. I don't know.
I'll tell you what it would be nice in. It would be nice if you're doing solo. Because I did play a bit of solo because I'm trying to just do my promotion.
Yeah.
And the game does have some limitations of what you can do in promotion versus, with friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I am doing that right now. So I'm playing solo a lot more. And I feel like, they give you Bosco for solo mode to kind of help out with not having other people there.
Yeah.
I feel like giving people jump boots in solo mode would also be a pretty good, like, hey, let's make this a little friendlier if you're going to just be going in that way.
You might even be able to get rid of I almost said Costco, of Bosco.
Costco.
Yeah.
Costco.
Don't get rid of Costco. I like their hot dogs. But no, don't get rid of him. Or you could get rid of him because part of my problem, or the reason I use him is like, well, there's stuff to mine way up on a wall I can't reach. So go do that, Bosco. Yeah. Instead, let me jump to a ledge I couldn't previously reach, chip away at it a little bit and do it myself. That'd be fine. And John, you've already got kind of I won't call it a cheat mode, but your ability with limited capacity is to drill through anyone and go anywhere and go through anywhere you want to go. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Fast. Everyone can do that, but it takes like a long time.
Yeah.
The driller is the best class in the game.
I'm always happy when we're playing together because then John's there with the driller and I'm like, this is by far the most useful of all. Like, all my guy does is extra lights and extra grappling hooks, which is helpful, but I feel really minimally impactful. No one's like gushing over themselves when I shoot a light into the ceiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we miss it when it's not there. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Maybe I mean, like I said, it's not terrible. It's just I feel like, wow, I love that John's part of the team. He just made a hole. You made an awesome hole and put pipes in it. It was like a whole ride. It was like, is it Disneyland?
So the trick is default boots for all classes except for the driller. Driller can just do his drill business.
I'm fine. I'll give up rocket boots for being driller.
Yeah, give you a slightly more inventory on the stuff you need to burn for it though. So it's not always
that would be nice.
Yeah. Just make it really easy to find when you get in the level. Like always put it in the first room or somewhere nearby.
Yeah, I like that. But this game,
they already make you play Flappy Bird to unlock them.
Yeah, that thing, dude.
That's its own punishment. Like you can really just let people have it because they have to play Flappy Bird to.
That took me forever to get through that first Flappy Bird thing, and then the second hacking it gave me was a different game. It was like match shapes. Speaking of shapes.
That one's pretty easy.
That one's not bad.
Flappy Bird, I sit there and I'm like, oh.
I still feel like we haven't seen all the new stuff there is there too.
No. I think there's a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more to see. But it's fun. That game's great. I'm glad that they just continue to support it so much, and they got this free battle pass that's not like a paid one at all. You can't even pay into it. You just play it. And I don't know. This just feels like a game.
It's just incentive to keep playing. Like because I get in there and I'm like, oh man, I've been missing out.
Yeah.
Even, but I don't have that bad feeling. I hate that. The bad feeling is I paid $15 and I'm missing out.
Yeah.
Like at this rate, I'm probably not going to finish. Oh, I did finish the season journey.
Did you?
Before.
I
but
did.
If I
didn't.
I'd have felt bad.
Yeah.
Like I'd have been like, oh, I did that season 1 when I accidentally clicked on it. A whole bunch of people fell prey to that problem.
Right.
I didn't get anything from that battle pass. It sucks.
Ugh. $10 for in Canada, $15 for nothing.
Yeah. Feels bad, man.
Ugh.
So
I don't like that.
I like that you don't have to pay anything. I think you can still buy cosmetics, but there's so many cosmetics. It's like, what's the point?
I don't even know. Is there a store? Because I can't find any.
They
store.
have supporter packs.
No, it's like supporter packs. Like if you really want to help the team, you
like
can
DLC and stuff. Yeah,
it's like a give me all your money. No, what? Give you all the money. What is it they say? Take all my money.
Take my money, please. There you go.
It's for the take my money people.
Show me the money. Wait a minute. Dirty money. No, I don't know.
Take all my money is like when you're getting robbed. That's not what I meant.
No. In fact, we like this. This is the kind of developer we like their methods of money earning. Sell the game.
I think they're pretty good.
Sell some DLC. Have a really great game to play.
You think their Vampire Survivors is going to be good, John?
I thought it was pretty good what I played. I think the biggest hurdle
the demo,
the biggest issue that they're going to have is that it's just taking a while, which is kind of a problem because it's such a so many games are coming out in this space that the things that felt really advanced about it are already kind of feeling a little bit dated when you look at some of the other stuff that's come out.
They're gonna miss their window, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on how fleshed out the whole thing is when it comes out. I just did the one little demo. It is cool to be able to tunnel through walls and stuff like that. And I don't know what adding new classes and how deep it's ultimately going to go. But I play a game like Death Must Die, and that feels newer and fresher than what I played with it, and it's not out yet. So that's my one concern for it, but I liked what I played.
Yeah.
I will definitely pick it up and try it.
They're mining. I mean, I didn't play it when that fest thing happened when you did, but the ability to mine through things seemed pretty cool. That was one differentiating factor in that game compared to other Vampire Survivor likes. So that looked cool. Yeah, after playing with you guys, I just really want them to make a builder mode, let's have some more pipes to grind on and give me some shit to put together.
I just want to grind pipes and dig holes. That's all I want.
That was really fun.
In cool caves. And I do want to fix it. I also have to say special shout out to whoever did the animation for fixing the pipeline.
Yeah.
There's a little pneumatic hammer tool that you pull out during the animation for it that is video game. It's so satisfying.
Yep.
You just lift it up. You just smack it a couple times. You lift it up and it just goes. Yep. And every time it hits, I'm like, oh, this just feels good.
Well, to their credit, the one that's you moving a tank driller through the thing, which we didn't play the other day, that also has that tool. But give me that tool all the time. Give it to me every chance you need me to fix anything. I'm ready.
Oh, and their hacking robot is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, dude, I love that. Although
their animations and sound are really, really good.
I did a solo run after, we were talking about some solo play. I chose that kind of map again because I had so much fun with it. I got the worst dice roll on the map, though. Super windy. Well, unless you're a driller, okay? If I was a driller, this would have been no problem. Or if Bosco would do me a hole right where I needed him to, but he won't unless it's dirt. So I had this windy path of snow that slows you down, so I couldn't hold shift and run. And so I had to just go and drop a module. I think it took me 10 or 11 of those damn things to create the connection that I needed because I couldn't drill through to where it was. So it was this moment of both oh, that's a bummer. I got a bummer roll on the map generation, but also it'd be nice if John was here. You know, because
No
you would have
problem.
made a hallway straight there. It would have been no problem. But
Yeah.
I couldn't manually do that. But it was still fun. I still got it. Still beat the level. Got back. Made money. Bought some skin stuff. I think I'm sticking with the gunner. I went with a couple of the others, and once you're used to one, I think you kind of stay. I don't know. I like the gunner a lot.
It just feels right. Feels comfortable.
Yeah. So we'll see. But maybe more of that on Tuesdays. We'll see. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't, but that game's rad. And Deep Rock Galactic's still a threat. So go play it. All right. I also played Horizon. Oh, sorry, Beau. What were you going to say?
Well, I just have one more thing that I need to compliment, but the hacking robot is the best.
Yeah, that's great. John just said that, but yes, I love the hacking robot.
I don't know why I didn't hear it.
Yeah, no,
I don't know why.
It's all right. He deserves.
I was
extra
thinking
praise.
about saying it while he was saying it. Probably.
It's so nice. We mentioned it twice.
That's
because
right.
It really is that good.
The animation's great. What it does is great. Whatever. These guys are working on a different level. I can't wait to see what they do next after this and after the Survivors thing. No idea what they're working on. You know they're working on something. They made a lot of money. This game sold like crazy, and still does. So I think
Drilling and grinding, make it happen.
Yep.
That's what I want. Drilling and grinding.
Yep. Or finally admit that this is all part of the Warhammer 40K universe, and these are dwarves in that world. Admit it. Just admit it. All right, let's move on. I played. I told you last week I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn PC version.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with that main story. I played a ton of it when I wasn't playing Shapes. This is what I was playing. Yeah, I was. Oh, I mean, when I picked it up again, I was kind of already. I was probably 25% through, and so I kept going with that playthrough. I didn't start over.
Oh, okay. So you didn't start over.
No, I
You
could have.
You didn't do what I do, which is I haven't played it in a month. I better start completely over.
Depends on the game. I usually will do that, and I was tempted here, but I picked it up and I went, oh no, I remember a lot of this, and it was fine, and picked it right up. So, and technically, it was the second time I'd played that sequence anyway, because I played on the PlayStation and then later this. So it wasn't that big a deal. So anyway, I'm almost done with the main story. There's a ton of extra stuff I want to go get and do. I still say that's one of the coolest games ever made. When I'm done, I will go back and pick up Forbidden West again and try to finish that. I would love to be able to say I finished that series with the exception of the VR mountain thing. Although Beau may play that at some point or another. I don't know. Comes to Steam.
Sometimes they come to Quest or Steam.
Yeah, could go either way. I have a feeling Sony wants to not lose their shirt on stuff they've made in VR because their install base for that 2.0 VR thing is not anywhere near what they wanted or needed. And so I think it would help them if they push that around after their initial launches.
Get the RE4 remake on there too.
Yeah, that'd be good. Anyway, not much to add except it was, there's a lot of the stuff toward the end that involves you working with, he just passed away. He was on The Wire. He was on John Wick. I can't think of his name. Lance Riddick. Lance Riddick is all over this game, and I love his character, and I just hate that he's gone. I don't know what they do for a third game without him because, I don't know what happens at the end of Forbidden West, so maybe I don't need to worry about it. But I really like that character, and it's fun to hang out with him again. There's some really crazy fights I totally forgot that game puts in front of you. Just some wild stuff. It's just awesome. I love that game, and I love that it's all basically in my backyard. They shrink it pretty good, but there's Bryce Canyon and the part where Utah becomes Arizona briefly and then becomes Nevada. That's all in there. It's just set where I live, and it's weird that it is, and I can recognize certain places and go, oh my gosh, that they're trying to pretend like this is whatever. And anyway, that adds a little bit of it for me, but I just think that is one of the coolest games ever made, and I'm really happy to be playing it again. So that's where I'm at with that. I played a game I will mention briefly because I already talked about Shapes, and that is ChillQuarium. All right.
Oh, I think I saw this one somewhere.
Yeah, it was on sale. It was super cheap. I was like, well, I'm going to grab that. That was like $2 or something. It is a game that I wouldn't call it a clicker, although there are aspects of it that are clickery. If you want it to be clickery, you can make it clickery. That being you feed your fish in a clickery kind of way, but that only speeds up the growth of your fish. If you just leave your computer for a day and come back, a ton of them will have matured and you can now sell them. But the whole goal is to run an aquarium, unlock a bunch of fish. They come in the form of like little fish cards. and you're trying to get them all, kind of Pokemon style. You don't have to catch them, but you just hope you get dealt them eventually. And then you feed them. You toss food around the aquarium in this very cute, wholesome aquarium. The fish eat the food. That helps them grow. They grow on their own anyway. I forget what the click rate is, but they're always growing. And then when they're full grown, you're notified. Bling! You've got your first koi fish, and then it will make you $15 if you sell it. So you sell it. Another fish pops and it goes, oh, it's a fully grown, I don't know, just beta fish or whatever it is. Sell that one for 20. Ooh, yeah, let's do that. And you have certain goals and certain rewards and all that sort of thing. And certain fish are worth more than other fish. You're not meant to just hang out in there. You can if you want. But usually what I do is I'll go in, unlock a bunch of fish, spend money on fish, throw them into the tank, feed them real quick, and then I get out. And then I'll go, oh, it's 5 o'clock. I'm going to go check on my fish. And I go in there, and all but maybe 3 babies have matured, and they're sellable now. And they're also telling me what they are. If I've already had them, they don't inform me. But if they're new, they tell me. And then I sell those. I make money. I improve the tank. I add better food. I can make a more interesting tank with different sand or whatever. These things all have effects on how quickly you get your fish or which rarity comes up, that kind of thing. And that's it. That's the loop. And it's a very fun little loop. Little wholesome, sweet little game.
You're having fun with it.
Yeah, it's totally fun. It's definitely kind of what are those little things we used to have? A little Tamagotchi. There's a Tamagotchi vibe.
Okay.
Where you're not meant to stare at it all day or play it for hours at a time.
I was gonna say, do the fish die if you leave them alone too long?
Oh, I don't know. I've not done that yet.
He loves his fish too much.
I love my.
He sells them calories.
Yeah, like today I checked on them about 6 hours apart. And they were all mature when I came back, and I sold them all, made a crap ton of money, went and bought more fish, filled up the tank, fed them real quick, and then left. So that's how you'll play this game if you get it. It's cheap for a reason because it's, that isn't much of a loop, but it's a satisfying one. And you watch numbers go up, and you buy better shit, and then more numbers go up.
More expensive than the Vampire Survivors.
Yeah. What is it? Well, it was on sale for like $2, but what is it now? Probably off sale now. I don't know.
For me, it's $6.23 Canadian.
Okay, so it's probably about $4.99 here, and they had it like 50% off or something. Yeah.
Can you screensaver with it? Because it definitely has like a screensaver vibe.
It has a mode where you take all the UI out and it just kind of sits there and chills. Now, that's only good if you're staring at it though, because if you're trying to get work done, I just have it in the background too sometimes because a fish will pop and I'm like, oh, let's go see what fish popped. Oh, okay, this one did. Cool, I didn't have that one before. Now I have a goldfish or whatever.
It's still distracting, right?
It can be, yeah. But it's doing offline progress, and that's really what sets it apart. You don't have to have it open to have any progress. Boy, I wish Shapez did this because I currently have 50,000 I need to make of a certain shape, and I'm maximizing my output, but it's still taking forever to hit 50. I wish that would do that while I was offline because the shapes are done and they're feeding into the freaking hub, but I can't sit there and watch it all day. So, this fish thing's cool. It's like I said, I spent under $3 for it, and it's just, I like shit like this, so it might be worth your time out there, everybody. Again, that is called ChillQuarium, just like you think it's spelled. That's it. Oh, and a reminder that Shapez 2 demo hits on the 25th this month. That's Shapez with a Z and 2, the sequel.
I wonder how many people have heard you talk about this game and actually typed Shapez with a Z as the full title.
Oh, I didn't think of that. I know they've sold a bunch because of the show, because I won't shut up about it. And so they've sold a lot of Shapez 1, which, getting toward end of its life cycle for a sequel, but still, I think we made a dent, which is why I think they reached out to me. I don't know, actually. It may have just been the tweet, but anyway, Shapez 2 getting a demo. Make sure you pick it up. 25th is when it happens. I think they already have a listing on Steam. Well, I know they do because I've wishlisted it.
Yeah, I've wishlisted it too.
Yeah. John, you recognize that intro today for a reason.
I did.
Yeah. So what are you playing that reminds you of that?
I am playing finally, properly, dedicatedly, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
So you're into the end?
I am in. You're
not gonna slack?
Until I beat... No.
Even if you don't feel like playing it, you're going to sit down, you're going to play that turkey?
I will never not feel like playing this game.
Great.
Beau has spoke volumes about this game.
Yeah.
He is 100% right. Yakuza Like a Dragon is such a good game.
Yeah,
It is so good. It is, and like it has a bit of a slow start. It's good right from the get-go, but it gets so much better.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing is like I've seen some people say, "Oh, I started it, but I didn't really get that into it," or it just feels like it's a slow build. Is this all I'm going to be doing? You know, you kind of just see that sort of thing. There is a lot of dialogue, there is a lot of story, there is a lot of, you know, cutscenes and stuff like that. But this game is so genuinely funny. And I thought, you know, based on the things I had seen, I'd watched Beau play a little bit of it. I had seen cutscenes. Everybody wants to show the absurdness of this game. It's sort of the same thing as like with Final Fantasy XIV. You see a lot of screenshots of weird shit. And it as a result, you think like, oh, this game's just going to be tomfoolery nonstop. It's just going to be giant crabs. It's a crawfish. It's just going to be a giant crawfish, and it's going to be homeless people breathing fire and sicking birds on people, and like that's all that this game's going to be. Yeah. All that stuff is there. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. It's there and it's wonderful. But what it also is it is a very compelling, sometimes violent, sometimes depressing story, but also an incredibly heartfelt and compelling story. Like we talk about this a lot about how it's important for stories to have heart. You know, we've talked about the Trailer Park Boys a lot on here, and that show can be extremely offensive and stuff like that. But part of the reason why it's so easy to say, you know what, it's fine in spite of all the awful things they say and do, is because you feel a heart behind it. Same principle here. Like this story has already told multiple stories that have just made me go, damn, this is so good. This is so good. And I am absolutely loving this. I couldn't be more excited for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I saw a poll on Twitter today where I think it was GameSpot was asking which of these is going to be the first game you buy this year, and Infinite Wealth was not in the lead, and it's a crime. If you like
it's not
RPGs,
in the lead. Where's the poll?
If you guys like RPGs, go play this game. You don't have to have played previous Yakuza games.
What was the winning one?
The winning one was...
I want to shit on it.
I don't remember. There were 4 of them, and they were all beating it. That's what bothered me the most. It's a crime. It's a crime what's happening, because this game is so good. The characters in this are so good, and I'm not even done with it. Like I think I'm on like chapter 6 or 7 or something like that. Maybe not even that far. And I watched the trailer for Infinite Wealth today, and I saw characters from this game, and I smiled. And I realized I was smiling just seeing them. And I was like, oh man, that tells me everything I need to know about how I feel on this game. Like, it's just fantastic. It genuinely makes me laugh. It's nearly made me cry. It's made me think. It has been entertaining all along.
What chapter are you on?
I think 6. I could be wrong. It might not be quite that
there's
far.
There's 15, so like you're still...
I'm still plugging away. Yeah, there's a lot of game.
You got lots of road. This game, if you make it all the way to the end of the story, you will, I think, graduate to full Yakuza convert. Like I was kind of on the fence. Like... Yakuza 0 felt like, yeah, I played that weird Japanese game. It was melodramatic and touching, but Like a Dragon was just going to push you. Like they've stepped up the franchise with this game in particular. And I can't speak to the Judgment games because Judgment is just a whole new cast of characters. It's more on the police side, not Yakuza. They're really well reviewed, but I can't comment on it. But like, anyways, it's I'm glad you're spending time talking about the actual heartwarming story behind all this, because it's so good. And it's like,
and I mean that's the thing is everybody sees the big Yakuza boss in a diaper, right? Like, and goes, "Oh, I think I know what this game is."
I always show that. Yeah.
What I do too. But what you don't see is the heartfelt discussion he has about how difficult it is to raise a child and how a person whose marriage is falling apart, how they need to just realize how they both are working towards the same goal and understand the challenges that a child puts on both parents and understand each other's needs. Like a heartfelt speech about being a parent to another guy while he's wearing a diaper, and then offers to see if you want to drink the bottle as well. Like, it's all in there. It does both things, and it does both things earnestly and well. It's not jarring. It all ties in together. And it's just, I love games that can go from ludicrous to serious to heartfelt to, shocking, and just walk that line. That is one of the reasons I like Final Fantasy XIV as much as I do, is its ability to be dumb and serious at the same time. And it is absolutely what I like about this too. Like it threads that needle so perfectly. That it just, I'll be laughing out loud one minute and then just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? The next moment, it's just so good.
So the idea that these games have always sort of been this for people, these things you're saying is probably true, but do you think that what set everybody on fire is this change of combat style? Like what do you think it is about this one that jumps out so hard? Because it's not even making top polls. Like it's just, but there is something more mainstream about it than I've ever seen Yakuza be. Why do you think that is?
I think there was a element of a fresh start to it. Like I think having a new gameplay style certainly got more attention on it than normal. Like, it's kind of that, it makes you understand why games don't want to keep adding a number at the end. Like especially games that are actual sequels, right? Like it's easy to go, oh, it's Final Fantasy 16, but you don't have to play 16 Final Fantasies,
Right.
Like you can just play it. People know that. But Yakuza is a game that's got a lot of numbers and a lot of names after it. And it's a ongoing story. It's a continuing universe. And they tell their own individual stories, but like it can be daunting. And I think having a game that presents a different style of play with a different main protagonist with its own kind of setting gave everybody sort of this feeling of like, oh, it's a fresh start. I can jump in here at this time. And then I think it was also a great story to tell within that because the main character is so likable and the cast of characters are so likable and so interesting. Like they really are like the most lovable losers that you will ever meet in video gaming. Like there's a point where I was just like, wait a minute. Is my whole team a bunch of homeless people? And like, it's kind of true. Like
they're all jobless.
None of them have jobs. They all just kind of come together and like, wait.
You're basically a lifelong convict, and the other guy's basically, he's definitely homeless. He's for sure a bum. He embraces the bum lifestyle for his reasons. The other's a cop that gets bounced from the force, so he doesn't have a job. And there's Seiko. I feel like it's a pun a little bit because she is a little bit crazy, and it's kind of like Psycho.
Yeah.
And I guess she's out of work, but I can't remember the context. I know she's someone's sister.
She's she's a hostess, but I feel like she doesn't ever go to work.
Yeah.
They are just so freaking.
And you haven't you don't have all the playable characters yet, right? So
no, I've only got 4 so far, and so I know there's more because they keep saying they will earn XP when not actively in the party. I'm like, well, so far I haven't filled the party yet.
You've got 2 more main ones and like a side content one that you can get, but they're great characters too. So
yeah. It's a fantastic game.
I don't think it's just the RPG part though. I think the developers are embracing that Western audiences are watching, or that's a market for them. I think the games were distinctly very Japanese prior to Like a Dragon. And this one definitely, like you can play it with English voice acting and it like all the jokes like hit. You're not like, oh, what's this weird Japanese humor? It's like, there's not a lot of that. Like there's definitely customs there that you're like, oh, this must be a Japanese thing, but You know, a middle-aged guy who loves Dragon Quest is pretty relatable. You know, it's all it's all pretty.
I mean, I love
having him be like irrepressibly enthusiastic in the face of total disaster is a winning. You know, that translates no matter what.
I really like the English dub on it. Brian or John, are you playing through English or Japanese?
I'm playing through in Japanese, which just felt right at the time. But I have now seen a lot of, you know, like clips and stuff, especially watching the trailer for Infinite Wealth, and heard the dub, and it sounds great.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll stick with that, especially with Infinite Wealth transitioning to taking place in Hawaii. I think it might be fun to transition to English voices and stuff like that. So
my policy has been the Kazuma Kiryu games are in Japanese, and the Ichiban Kasuga games English dub.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
that's not a bad policy.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but if it's not literally him, it sounded an awful lot like him. But in that trailer, I'm pretty sure I heard Danny Trejo, and I don't want to hear somebody else doing that voice.
I gotta find that now.
Hang on. Yeah,
I don't know if it's true. If it's not him, it sounds so much like him.
Yakuza. Let's see.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, official.
Yeah,
Danny Trejo. He plays Dwight.
Dwight. Yeah, he's in it. That's great.
I don't want to deny myself a chance to hear him in the game. So.
Yeah. So Scott, you need to. I think you look Infinite Wealth. It's like 8. How many days away?
Well, I've got. So I'm pretty far in.
It's a big deal, man.
I'm pretty far into that first, or in the one John's playing now. I probably should just pick it up and try to finish.
It's on the 25th, so 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks.
Oh no, that's the Shapez 2 with a Z demo day. What am I gonna do? Oh no.
Sorry, well, whatever. I mean, you play it when you want to play it. I'm really excited. I've been literally counting down the days. There isn't a more important game that I can think of in 2024, except maybe Space Marine 2.
This makes you guys hardcore Sega fanboys. You realize that?
It's insane. But like, yes, like you got to give credit. It's like you don't think that it's a Sega property, but then you know, even though there's tons of Sega arcade games and there's even Sega dinners and stuff. But like, yeah. This is like an awesome thing Sega's been doing over the years, and it's like hitting high marks. I mean, even the man who erased his name was incredible too. Like I thought it was like I've played, you know, I played Yakuza 1 and Yakuza 0, and the man who erased his name. They're just like they're using the blingiest of tech. Like everything looks good, is well animated, superbly voice acted, well written. Like these guys are firing on all cylinders. This is a great franchise that the West is like. It's kind of a shame they didn't get a single nomination. But Infinite Wealth stands a better chance. But still, it's kind of a shame that Man Who Erased His Name didn't, because it's a fantastic game.
Yeah. There's a interesting, a little side note. Some news happened that we don't have on our list later, but Sega of America and Europe has a new president. This is Shuju Usami, I think is how you say his name. He's the new president and COO and CEO of Sega America and Europe. He helped launch the PlayStation in the States for Sony, the Dreamcast for Sega, involved directly in the creation of Kingdom Hearts. Many people credit him entirely with that happening at all with Square and Disney, and also helped Q Entertainment make big hits like Lumines and some other stuff. He's their new president. Here in the States, by the way. So I think that's really good news, like for Sega in general.
There's a whole bunch of Sega like rebrands coming out, right? We saw that at the VGAs.
Yeah, new Crazy Taxi, new what's the tagging one?
Jet Grind Radio,
that's it. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Golden Axe looks insane. Like I have a feeling we're about to see Sega in their publishing time, which is where they are now. We're about to see a resurgence big time. I don't think we get a new console. It's not what I mean. But I think that him at the helm and all this stuff coming out and the success of stuff like this, like Sega's having a moment. It's great. Yeah. Their Warhammer stuff's doing really good, or their Total War Warhammer games, and they're kicking butt. Anyway, awesome, John. You're making me want to just pick that up again.
You should. It's really, really good. I think I might be farther than you now.
You are.
Do you have 4 characters?
I have 3, I think.
Okay. So yeah, you gotta get in there, Scott.
I
You gotta
know.
get in there.
I gotta get
so
in there.
good.
It is. I knew really have a good excuse for why I didn't finish. I just, you know how it was. Other games came out and we played.
Big long RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one. That's why you gotta commit to it. It's not a short guy. It's a big game. It's a long game.
Well, and speaking of, let me tell you about the other 2 insanely long RPGs that I'm playing. Why I'm playing 3 RPGs right now is beyond me, but it's the ship I'm in. Because the other things I spend a lot of time with is continuing to play Final Fantasy X. I'm finally starting to like it. And playing Sea of Stars, which I liked from the beginning and continue to like. So I don't have a lot to say new on those.
Are you resuming your gauntlet of all Final Fantasies? Is this what we're seeing here?
I think
Yeah,
so.
if I can get through 10 eventually,
you can make it through 10. You can make it. I believe in you.
I mean, why is 10 so? I don't mean for you, but I mean in general, people say this. Why is 10 considered the one hard to get through?
No, people love 10. I don't think I'm in the majority thinking 10.
There's a fan for every Final Fantasy. You pick one
Sure.
Final Fantasy and you say that's the only bad one, an army will rise up and shout you.
I heard I'd always heard 10 was like just more impenetrable. Maybe I'm thinking of 13 because 13 has
I
that
think
reputation.
2 is the only one you can actually badmouth and people won't come after you. I think 2 is the only safe one to.
Let's see what the YouTube comments look like in a week.
Yeah, you're wrong, John.
You're wrong.
2 is genuinely like it had wonderful ideas. I think a remake, like an actual like remake of 2, could be amazing, but it doesn't execute well. Like it's like they tried to make a Bethesda game in the NES era. Like it's kind of weird.
Where did this one land?
I'm here to kill chaos.
Where's that on people's
Well,
list?
I don't know. That's not an official number.
Okay, so it's an
As
offshoot.
far as offshoots, you can badmouth offshoots. That's fine.
Okay. I don't know. That community could
but
come. all
mainline
knives
one,
out.
someone will come for you for pretty much everyone except 2.
Okay.
10 definitely is going to have people upset at me because for a lot of people this was their first one. For a lot of people this was, a very influential game, and it was, by all accounts, it was one of the first big budget video games that was fully voice acted. By and large, like it's not 100%, but it's like 90% voice acted. Poorly, but it's there. And they are talented voice actors. Like let me put it this way. For all the jokes about how Tidus laughs and all of that, the person who voices Tidus is the same guy that voices Obi-Wan Kenobi in Clone Wars. He is
good.
a talented actor.
Yeah, he's really good.
He is good. The cast of Final Fantasy X is good, but nobody was doing this at the time when this game came out. It just wasn't a thing. And how a game should sound and be performed and all of that just wasn't known.
Yeah, we weren't there yet.
I give it a pass overall. For its time and place, but it doesn't make it easier to go down by today's sensibilities.
Yeah,
and
it's got like a volleyball guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you got to play as a guy who attacks with a volleyball. It's not the coolest thing in the world. You know?
Like, my biggest issue with it is it feels like so far, I feel like I've been walking down a corridor for the entire game. That's
it's not a great
really
feeling.
just been in my head the entire time, and people say it never really gets too far from that.
No, not at all.
But I have found more fun in it as I've gone along. I think the combat system is good, but I think it has some flaws. Like I lost a fight for I think one of the first times. Last time I played it, I lost a boss fight really badly, and then I tried again and I won. I basically got destroyed the first time, and then I destroyed the boss the second time, but not really because I adjusted my strategy, just because that's the way it works, and I don't think that reflects well on the design of the game.
Is that the game with Paradigm Shift as its Paradigm Shift, or is that 13?
No, I think that's 13.
That's 13, okay.
Yeah.
13 was controversial, all right? That's not just me.
I love 13. I think it was, but I can't remember. Like, I think it was controversial because it had low frame rates on Xbox, and also it was corridor like 10, which was a reoccurring criticism. I think people have just given up because like even remakes kind of corridory, but
maybe I'm thinking of 12.
They hide it a little better by having some open areas that you run around in, but you know, I am curious to see what Rebirth looks like because now we're going to where the overworld would have been.
Oh, right.
And I feel like the overworld is a good way to get out of the feeling of corridors.
Yeah.
But it really has been like, hey, you're in a zone, you're going to go through the zone.
I got a feeling it's just going to be corridors again. I got a feeling.
It could be. We'll see.
We'll
I mean,
see.
it has been the trend. But it feels especially egregious in 10. But I am finding things to like about it. The story is doing better than it was. So you know, I'm finding fun, and I don't know if chat is trying to cause a ruckus by saying
we had a whole show about this.
Titus. We've had the Titus talk twice. I changed his name in my playthrough to Teedus. No matter what you think it is, I changed his name. It's pronounced Titus.
Titus.
Go do your own research. It's pronounced Titus.
Yeah.
I don't like it either. That's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Go look it up.
It's not like you just you're not just choosing the one you prefer or don't like. You went and looked. You found out. We found out.
I did the research and then I changed his name.
Yeah. So there.
You can't always count on the romanization of like the like because I learned Korean and like they have what's the romanization, which is like using the English alphabet.
Yeah.
But the letters don't sound the same.
No.
It's like you see an R, but you're supposed to go nah.
Yeah, it's
not
weird.
her. You know, it's like so your English brain is still messing you up on the romanization. So it's probably happening to Titus.
Yeah. I heard the way you're really pronouncing is this.
I should have just named him Robert. It would have really gotten
Robert.
a lot better.
I never get sick of hearing that.
I know. It's one of the most amazing death sound clips of all video gamedom. In a game I've never even played. I know, John, you played some Sekiro, but that sounds amazing. So good. It was Sekiro, right? Ninjas Die Twice or whatever the hell?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that's right.
I don't think that's the title, but yeah, that's it.
Only Ninjas Die Twice?
Only Ninjas Die Twice.
Only Ninjas Die Twice. My favorite James Bond movie.
Yeah. You know, that old favorite.
I think it's Shadows Die Twice.
Oh, is that it? Shadows never die. No, wait.
No, Shadows Die Twice.
Sekiro.
It's Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
You're right. It is a Die Twice. I thought the Die Twice was the wrong
one.
Sekiro,
Quantum of Shadows.
Yeah,
Quantum of Ninjas.
You dipped in there briefly, but we never really talked about it. I don't know if that means you're just going to go back to it at some point and then talk about it or whatever. What was your
Sekiro?
Yeah, what was your takeaway there? Did we talk on the show about it?
Beau did briefly play it.
I played it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. And John, I thought you did too for some reason.
I loaded it up and I couldn't get the HDR to not try and turn on, and I hated how it looked, and I stopped playing it.
Why is PC HDR so hard? Why is PC HDR so hard for these developers to get right? I don't get it. It's PC only, by the way. Console HDR, beautiful on a TV that supports it. It's beautiful, no problems. But I try to use HDR in some games on PC. Utter trash. It looks so bad. Yeah. I'm sure there's something.
It looks like somebody half turned off your monitor.
Yeah. It's terrible.
It's like a wannabe sepia filter that's not working.
Yeah.
It's just like, what's this junk? Like, it's so terrible.
Yeah, it sucks ass.
But for some reason, Sekiro is like finicky about it, because a lot of those games you can shut it off. It's not finicky, but Sekiro's like, we want HDR. Like it gets frizzy, and I was at a point where I was like, I'm looking up a mod like to install to just make it work properly. It gave me made me grumpy, and I just gave up.
Sure.
Armored Core 6 also has this problem, but you just turn it off and it's fine.
It's good.
Like you load up the game and you go, hey, don't do that, and it goes, oh, sorry, I'll stop.
Let's get back to the Sekiro was very cool. Like the amount I played, it was awesome actually.
Yeah, a lot of people love that game.
It's got a good combat system.
All right, so let's move down the line here to Beau. You tried MythForce. I can't think of what that is. What is MythForce?
So MythForce is a 4-player looter shooter roguelike. The main draw of which is that it's stylized like a He-Man Transformers, 80s cartoon.
Oh,
and it has the soundtrack to back it up. Apparently, they now just put in an update. So I haven't really played it before the combat update, but I think there was some grievances about it because it seems like they put a lot of effort into making it more snappy. So I can't compare, but I picked it up on sale, and like a lot of other games. But this was I just like these roguelike little games. I gave it a try, and I will say it was all right.
Yeah, all right, eh?
It was all right.
It was all right. It didn't blow my socks off, but I didn't hate it either. I liked it, but I thought the graphic style was cool. It's just not a particularly fast game. In a game of shooters, you like to move around quickly and stuff. It just didn't feel very fast.
A little more methodic, yeah. Well, you're using is the bow. There's other weapons ranged or no? Is it only bows or?
Yeah, there's 4 characters. You can play a melee character, like a sword and board kind of person. There's tons of melee weapons. The combat actually felt all right. It wasn't it was pretty good. Like this, whatever the update was. Like I don't have any complaints except maybe, it's Doom Eternal. This is not.
Yeah.
Even Borderlands, this is not. Where like Borderlands, you play multiplayer, you jump around. The traversal is pretty slow, and maybe that's not a bad thing. I don't know, but it's competing in a cramped marketplace, and the main draw is that it's like an 80s cartoon, which it nails.
Yeah, this is
really
really
love
pretty.
the look of it.
Yeah, it looks like Dragon. It's like Dragon's Lair, the shooter, is what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah. And like, I think if we play this multiplayer, we'd have a good time. It's great. It's just like, it makes me feel bad, but I just can't be like, I'm gonna rave about this game. I don't feel like raving about it.
Yeah.
It's like you'll get your money's worth. I think if you have friends, it felt a little lonely solo, but I did have a pug drop in at one point for some reason, and that was nice just to have 2 people helping. But it's missing a little it's missing a little something. I don't know if it's traversal or excitement because it's got all the right ingredients. It's still in early access, I think.
Makes sense.
Is it?
I think so. Probably.
No, it's not. No, but they're still developing it. Yeah,
right.
it's out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I pick it up on a sale. Like I said, the graphics are stellar in this, and the sound effects are pretty good too. Like it's got a lot of those like synthy weird sounds, like from Dragon's Lair and stuff. Like you know what I'm talking about, like in He-Man and shit. Like it's a well done package. I just think the overall loop. I think it might be more fun with other players. I have a theory about this game. Yeah, because see, even some of the enemies that you're sort of showing on that trailer, I haven't gotten to yet, and they look badass. But
they do, and the characters. I mean, in this video I was looking at before, it was just the first-person view, and I wasn't sure what other characters look like. But yeah, like this nails this aesthetic better than most. Like, remember when cell shading was like, oh, everything's they're going to see a lot of this coming out, and it never quite nailed it. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah,
this is convincing. Like
it's as close to like playing an actual 80s cartoon that you will get. Like in some ways it's the best, I would actually say. Like it looks good, feels good, the sound effects are great, music's great. The UI needs a little work. Like the in between games is a little confusing, but still doable. But it was just like I felt a little slow and lumbering. But again, maybe you eventually power up to a point where you're super fast. Some of these roguelikes are like that, where you kind of suck at the beginning. If you ever want to boot it up and play play multiplayer, I would do it. But it's missing a little. It is missing a little like salt and pepper. So there's a little something about it.
Seems neat.
Needs to be keyed up. Yeah,
seems neat. Cool. What else you get up to?
What else have I gotten up to? Where's the show notes? Well, the typical shit. Like, guys, I don't want to. Oh, before we get into that, let's talk about Dungeons of Eternity.
Okay.
Like, there's nothing new that I played on my list apart from giving MythForce a try.
Okay.
I apologize to the 60 games I've bought and haven't played, but you're just gonna have to wait until I'm ready.
Yeah.
We played another session of Dungeons of Eternity. I think I talked about it last week, and there were some giant spiders, and I got left alone and ripped the headset off. Well, Crofton talked me into playing a second session. Unfortunately, I didn't stream it this time, but it actually went a lot better. We had a really good time. I still don't like the spiders, but I got really good at the bow and arrow. Like I can Legolas now and just like whip in a quick hand motion, so I can fire off like 5 or 6 arrows a second. Well, not a second, but an arrow a second or something like that.
Sure.
But I think I injured my rib cage just from the repetitive motion.
Oh,
I played for like 4 hours, and I'm doing this to shoot, and then later on that night I was like, "Ooh, ow! Why is my chest hurt. And I'm like, oh, it's probably because I was just like doing this all night, you know, and I was fine like the next day. It wasn't anything serious. It was just like kind of like, yee.
Yeah. I hate that. Funny. I hate that feeling because I always forget what I did that would have caused repetitive like motion.
Yeah, your mind goes to the worst case scenario. You're like, oh shit, is this angina or something? Like, what's going on? And it's just, you know, it's just like, no, I was like doing repetitive motion in this weird way that I never did in a video game before. But that being said, like I got to do that when I play this game. Got to kill those spiders. But I'm getting pretty good with the bow. This game's really fun in multiplayer. Like it's actually a really big recommend. Like for VR if you have friends to play with. I don't really like this game playing alone, but it's hilarious playing with friends, working together to like overcome bad guys and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's good mechanics, like different weapon types are better against other guys. I just use the bow for everything, but there's magic spells. Like we got a candy cane wand and like a temporal wand and stuff. But we went through a few different biomes this time, and it's great. Like I don't know that I have much to say that I haven't already said about the game, except that like it's very immersive and very fun. And
I like the aesthetic a lot. I think they've nailed the kind of dungeon crawly thing that I like. It's my sensibilities. It's real good.
It's like one of these hybrids where it's like medieval, but then you're from the future, so that's why it justifies you having space guns, I guess, at some point, or just weird shit. They tell the whole story about why that's a thing. But
right.
Again, it's just an excuse to do some dungeon delving, but have some very convenient tools in the VR space, basically. Mm. And yeah, it's great. I enjoy that quite a bit. I'm glad I gave it a second chance. And it has good torch mechanics. We found a few dungeon areas now that had complete pitch blackness, except for the torch you have to carry, which I love that stuff. It's so good in Skyrim. Except when spiders come crawling out of the darkness, which happened, and I hated that. But it's like it's a little better with friends around, because at least then I can run away and I can rely on my friends to help me with my fear. Okay. I wouldn't be wanting to do this alone, though. That would terrify me. But
and you found Crofton reliable in this scenario. He was helping.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, there's no like stealing mechanics or anything like that.
All right.
So that was okay. He definitely. Yeah. I mean, he's been messing up so much in our Baldur's Gate game, which has also been ongoing. Like, I don't know, the Crash where there's that lady that you get the quest. She wants you to steal a Githyanki egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we talk to that lady. We do the whole Crash thing. We steal the egg. And then we're going to hand the quest in, and Crofton can't help himself but pickpocket the lady while we're handing the quest in. He fails. She turns hostile, and we kill her. We can't turn the quest in.
Well, do got an egg.
Why couldn't he pickpocket her after you got the egg money?
Because somebody described our game best. Everyone comes up with their own plan and executes their own plan immediately. And they talk about it as if everyone else is going to do it. And I'm just like sitting here saying, like, can we please coordinate?
But that's so funny to me. I love it. Yeah. I love that I love that you put yourself through this willingly. I think it's great.
We've made it to Act 2. We've just started Act 2, and we just got to the last light in. So we're just now figuring out what we're gonna do with all this. It's been a long, long road in Act 1. I think it's been 3 months or 4 months.
I was gonna say, honestly, I'm surprised you all made it this far. So kudos to you.
Yeah. Well, we've had a few deaths, but it's a reload. It's not a honor mode.
You're not doing honor mode. Honor mode works in that environment.
Honor mode with that group, I think, would be an exercise in futility.
Yeah, it
probably wouldn't last long. It'd be kind of fun, maybe, to see how long we could last.
Yeah. So wait, let me ask you this about honor mode and multiplayer: if one player dies, whole game's over, or the other two continue on, and then the other guy's screwed?
I don't know. It usually has to be a party wipe, because in single player, you could. In single player, I had 3 of my party members die.
And you can bring them back, right?
Well, there's limited ways to bring them back. So Withers will not res them.
Oh. What's he good for then? Jeez. Lame.
Well, he can still help you change your class.
That's true.
But and he can help you with hirelings. And
Scrolls of Revivify do still work, though.
Yeah.
But
so resurrection spells and Revivify scrolls. Exactly. So I had to go hunt a bunch, and I was like, I burnt 3 of these scrolls. They're probably limited supply, or so got to be more careful.
Yep.
But yes, if all 4 of you die, like Vlaakith can certainly pwn you in one shot with a wrong dialogue option. So there's some major pitfalls, but you get golden dice as a reward. So it's worth the effort, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know. I have to get back to my game. I'm still not dead. I'm still alive.
Oh, good. Still living.
But I'm still in Act 1 on my solo game.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. The rest is just World of Warcraft. I'm playing lots of Season of Discovery. I'm on my third character now.
Oh my gosh, a third? Really? Wow.
Jeez.
You're now you're an altaholic. You're an old school altaholic now.
It's not that I want to play alts. It's just we have the community day and we raid, and now we're getting so efficient at it. We're done in under an hour, and I'm like, well, I want to go again, but I need to have another character for fresh lockout.
Lockout, yeah.
So now, and we're running guild. Like, there's a lot of interest in the core community, so. Whoever doesn't run in the first one, we run a second team of people to get them their stuff, and I'm of course in all of them. So I'm running on the hunter, and then I'm like, I want to go again. Let's run a third pile of people if there's enough for it. And I'm like, well, now I'm gonna do a priest and do the healing thing, you know. But yeah, it's not really that I want to play the alts. It's just I want to run the raid 3 times, you know. Yeah,
I think that's great.
Just to bring the community, like, to help with the community and stuff. You know, people want to. We like to do that, play games with the community, like Heroes and stuff like that. So, the raid is a fun way to participate, and people have liked that. So,
yeah,
that's the main reason. But like, also, I'm enjoying it. It's not like a chore.
We still have room for people if they want in on that, right? If they want to.
Yeah, we're 300 and some members strong now. I mean, some of those are people's alts in there and all that, but you know, we're testing the boundaries of how big the guild can get. Yeah. So
we'll just
come on in.
Yeah, hop into the Discord and you'll whittle down in the core group. You'll find it, and
just log in and do a who core and just I give everyone invite powers. So
nice.
We're not being precious about managing the guild. I'm the boss,
yeah.
And John is also a boss.
Yeah,
and so we've promoted one of our community centrifuges as a boss because he brings all the explanations. You know, there's always that guy who likes willing to like talk for 20 minutes and explain in great detail.
Yeah,
we have one of those.
We know.
He's great. So I'm like, yeah, you've earned your spot.
Those
like,
are really important to a proper raid.
Yeah,
I could never be that guy, but I love it. I love when people are that guy.
We have one of those, so that's great. And so that's it. Those are your bosses. And if I assume you wouldn't want to be boss. Everyone's like, man, if Scott gets in here, he can be a boss in the raid. You know, like he can be. I'm like, Scott doesn't want responsibility.
No. I got enough going on right now. I tried this.
I guarantee
in the old days.
he doesn't want to be a core corpo. He just want to be a core hound like everyone else.
I tried doing that way back in the instance days, and it was hard. So I'm not doing that again. Also, I'd have to have a character for you to promote anyway, and I don't in Season of Discovery.
But listen, like I said, I'd volunteer. Now that I got so many characters, I'd volunteer just to speed level you guys. If you just want to do the raid, we could figure that out. But,
sure. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing like baller DPS on my warrior, like up to 200, which is pretty high because the average is around 50 to 100. But I've min-maxed the warrior into the stratosphere.
Is that mostly due to the rune stuff that makes you have?
It's funny. Like, it's funny what an optimal rotation will give you. Like, I basically over 2x my damage by pressing the correct buttons. Like, like, I was like, oh shit. It's anyone playing SOD, it's worth taking a look. I know people don't like parses and Warcraft logs, but it's worth taking a gander to see what the top players are doing, just so you can answer the question, which buttons are the best buttons to push? Like, just forget all the other stuff, but just like, you know, sometimes you push a button that doesn't do anything because it's a fun-looking button. You know, it's just a bit of advice,
right,
on how to. You know, it was eye-opening how much more damage I did pressing the correct buttons.
No, I remember those days of WoW because, like, in the early days, there weren't a ton of resources for that, but Rogues had one. It was called Shadow Panther. And if you went there, it would give you all the best gear, the best rotation, the best anything. Like, it would just give you, this is the optimal. And I was in a very casual guild, and I was the first person to go like, oh, well, what if I went to a website on the internet and it did what it told me to do? And I did that, and all of a sudden, everybody in the guild was freaking out. How are your numbers that high? How is it possible? And I was like, because I did research.
I did some research.
I spent some of my free time on this video game, and it's amazing what it did.
Yeah,
it's like Shapez, but for your Warcraft ability.
Yeah, exactly. Do a little research.
Like, what order do I do these things in? Oh wow, this is way better.
Yeah. No, there's something to that actually. But the thing is, like, if something like Icy Veins existed then, can you imagine? Oh my gosh, dude, would have been a whole different vanilla back then.
I mean, people are getting a little obnoxious with it. Like, I don't know what happened with my last YouTube stream. I think YouTube tried to offer it to some new people because it had more views. I don't know why, but it was actually. It's an annoying thing about YouTube is the lack of resume. I had a mild blip disconnect during the day.
I thought it was easier there than Twitch with the resume.
So like Twitch, like if you're disconnected for a few seconds, it won't necessarily cut it into 2 VODs, right? If you're quick enough to reconnect.
Yeah.
But YouTube's like, oh, stream over. New stream, new video thing.
You're done.
So like my stream is like midway through our second raid, which is not as strong as our first raid. And we have new team members in there, and there's a bunch of tryhards commenting, just like, "Oh, this is the optimal way to do things. You should press this button and press this button." Some guy's like, "This was agonizing to watch," and it's like, piss off. Like,
yeah,
just click off. Like, why did you have to comment? These are all,
I was in agony watching this video. I opted to watch.
Well, most people who are aware of what's going on know it's the core community guild, and we're not trying.
Yeah,
like it's friends playing and having a good time. Like, who gives a shit about any of that? But like, people come in and are like, "Is this the best raid?" No, then you suck.
Yeah, F that guy.
Why did you even post this?
F those guys. Like, there's still that attitude on Twitch.
I hate those people so much. Like, just go away.
It's like, oh no, we might not clear it the 3 times we're going to clear it today. Like, what do you want? Man,
I don't like that.
Anyways, that's the ugly side of it. I was like, oh yeah, these guys exist, but they are not in our guild.
Yeah,
they are on YouTube though.
And the chat saying, well, can't you turn off comments on YouTube? Yeah, but you want to interact. You want to interact. We just delete the ones we don't like. How about that? That's what I do.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes if someone's pretty nasty, I just delete it and don't feel bad about it. I'm like, whatever. I'm the ultimate autocrat of my channel, so piss off.
Yeah, piss off. It's your channel.
Yeah, I can take a ribbing. It's not like it's more. It's not that they're there or that I had to read them. It's just that it's a reminder that those people exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, you guys. Ugh.
Yeah.
And it's good to get that reminder because I won't tolerate it in the core community. We all got to be nice to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just here to play games, have a good time.
That's right.
That's it.
Never forget. Never surrender. Well, those are your games, everyone. We're going to take a break. When we come back from this break, we have Dear Martha. We have a bunch of news we're going to cover. Little quick bits. We have some texts and some calls from you. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
We all forget to unmute sometimes. Speaking of which, we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We've taken our break, and it's now time for us to do a Dear Martha. Now, this is a Dear Martha from John, who wasn't sure what it was going to be. Where is it now? Oh, this is the Weekend Gaming, January 11th. This is new. Sounds new.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're going to talk about this day in gaming.
This day in gaming, like history. This is great. I didn't know what this was going to be, so I'm super stoked. All right, nothing special, just the regular old dealio.
Yep, just regular old Martha.
Here we go.
My dearest Martha, I thought I'd take a short break from the usual letters and try something a little different. Today, I present to you my very first This Day in Gaming letter, where I will talk about a significant game or moment that happened on this day years ago. 19 years ago, to be precise, with today's topic. Because that is how many years ago it was that Pandemic Studios and LucasArts brought us the PlayStation 2 classic, Mercenaries: Playground of Destruction. Now, this is far from the most well-known video game of all time, but it is, in my opinion, criminally underrated. It was an open-world game where you played one of 3 mercenaries with the goal of removing key enemies in a war zone, all of whom were identified by playing cards. As I write this, it doesn't sound as cool as it was, but look, if I know one thing about me in my 20s, it was that I knew what was and wasn't cool, and Mercenaries: Playground of Destruction was cool. But I already know you aren't going to just take my word for it. So what if I told you the 3 main characters were voiced by Jennifer Hale, Commander Shepard herself, Phil Lamar of Like Everything fame, and Peter Stormare of Unpimp Your Auto Volkswagen commercials fame.
Oh. Fargo.
Sorry. Honestly, that alone should sell you. Beyond the cast, though, Mercenaries seem to be a game worried about only one thing. Are you, the player, having fun? It's such a simple concept, but yeah, this game literally lived up to its playground title by making the game more about playing it how you wanted than how it wanted you to. Do you think you should have a tank for this mission? Okay, call one in, they'll give you one. Want to stealth it? Sure, you can do that too. Do you need an arsenal that would make Arnold in the movie Commando blush? Yeah, we will literally give you all of that. It was the thing I always caught myself thinking as I played through missions. What's the penalty for playing like this? And the answer was typically nothing. Feels like these days games only let you really goof around once you either beat the game, if you're cheating, or if you exploit, or if you throw enough money at it. Mercenaries' Playground of Destruction was broken in your favor from the jump. And while, yes, that doesn't make it the most challenging game I've ever played, it still remains one that I think of quite fondly 19 years later. Oh, also, how's this? The unlockable skins you can get in this game are Han Solo and Indiana Jones. This game is so good it contains 2 bonus Harrison Fords. Yours in this life and the next, Peter Stormerk.
Oh, shut up. That's perfect. Also, I love Peter Stormare, and I had to yell Fargo like I have Tourette's. Because I love him in that. Very well done. Also, the best Satan in any movie ever. From, what was the
Constantine.
Constantine. Or as my friend Steven says, Constantine. He refuses to say teen. I say tine. Or no, I say what you did. Constantine. Wait.
What do I say?
Constantine.
What do I always say?
Constantine? Anyway, he's an amazing Satan. Best Satan ever
Scott,
on film.
no, we'll find out. Here we go. Scott,
Yeah.
who is the superhero that defends Gotham?
That would be Batman.
Who's the superhero that defends Metropolis?
That would be Superman.
What is the name of Superman's dog?
Crypto.
What is the Lantern Corps that defends space?
Oh, the Green Lantern Corps. No.
Who is the British guy with blonde hair and a trench coat that solves supernatural problems in the DC universe?
Constantine. Oh,
there you go.
I see. You just say it. Yeah. Okay. No. That worked.
We got it.
That worked. Okay. Well, we did it. And if you've never seen that movie, it's not even that great of a movie, but Peter Stormare's devil, his Satan, unbelievably good. Never will there be a better Satan in a film. And that includes Tim Curry with his big giant horns in that Legend movie. Anyway, moving on. Where are we now? Oh, let's get to some news. We got a couple of news items. Nothing too huge. Can't find the clip. There it is. Brian Cox taught us all about the story of Tekken this week, and it was glorious. We should play a little of that,
Yeah.
See if I can get a little audio out of this guy. Hold on a second.
Absolutely.
Which is passed down through generations to the bearer's children. It allows the host to transform
What
into
is
a
this?
winged demon.
It's amazing. So you have a link there. It's Brian Cox doing a story so far in the Tekken universe before Tekken 8 comes out. Yeah, 8.
Yeah.
And Brian Cox, of course, most famously recently from what's the show called? Succession. Also Stryker from the second X-Men movie.
I was thinking that too.
I don't know why.
Do you think he memorized this?
Deadwood?
Is he reading off a teleprompter expertly?
Oh, I'm sure he's reading off a thing. They just hired him.
Because he's like fully green screened. He's got his hands in his pockets.
It is so good. I watched this live on stream. I posted my reaction to it because I just had so much fun with it. The little touches, like it's a thing that is taking itself seriously, but it knows that it's not actually taking itself seriously and is ridiculous. My favorite is when he's talking about them throwing each other off cliffs and they like green screen him to standing in the video game world, and he goes, threw him off of this cliff right here. What is this?
It's really good. He's great. He's great in everything you've ever seen. Adaptation, Troy, freaking Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Why would he even bother? But he's in that this year, this new season.
Isn't he in X-Men 2? X-Men 2.
X-Men 2. He played Stryker. He was in The Simpsons. He was in Lawrence After Arabia, which I kind of liked. He did that Oliver Twist thing that came out recently. Succession, of course, we mentioned. Everything you can think of. Much of the Bourne movies, or a couple of them anyway. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And the fact that he even agreed to this.
He's too good to be talking about Tekken's story, but I love that he is.
Yeah.
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, it's so ridiculous.
Also, the
so
original Dr. Lecter in the Manhunter movie that was the first.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
People always forget about that, the Michael Mann movie. Anyway, so there's that. That's cool. Go seek it out, you guys. We'll put it. I don't know if it'll be in the show notes as a link.
You think this will make any of us buy Tekken 8?
No.
It made me more interested, for sure.
I kind of been hovering over it. I'm like, I haven't played since 3. Maybe.
I do like Tekken. I used to love Tekken. I loved 3.
Yeah.
3 was amazing, dude. Eddie Gordo down there with his freaking dance kicks and some of those stupid characters. What's the bear called? I don't even know. It's so dumb.
There's just like a panda.
King.
There's a bear. There's King. There's like King Junior.
Yeah.
I don't remember all of them. They're great.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
It's been a long time, and the roster, like, I haven't played Tekken in so long, but the roster was already like insane. Even, like 4 or 5 games ago when I played the last time, like it was already nuts.
Yeah, we're maybe it's time. I have 7 and I haven't played it. Someone gave me a code, never played it.
Like
but
a weird
maybe
robot called Gunjack or something.
Remember Gunjack?
Like
yeah, with a stupid head. Where was Yoshimitsu was a crossover.
He's in all of them though, isn't he?
Well,
yeah, but he's in it. Yeah, Yoshimitsu's in.
He's
a
Tekken guy.
He was originally a Soul Calibur guy, and then he crossed over, I think.
Sector 7's correcting us on all the names. So he wrote Kuma, Panda, King, and Armored King. You mean it wasn't Bear, Panda, King, and King Jr.? Weird that we got that wrong.
Sector 7 and Brian Cox.
They've got the budget Ryu and Ken, right?
Oh yeah,
Paul
with his tall hair went up to here.
Yeah.
I don't think he does that now. I think it's short hair now, or it's not as stupid. But it was.
Paul's gonna be in this one, I bet. I saw Law in one of the trailers. I was like, oh yeah, they have like a Bruce Lee like look-alike in this game.
Tekken's
they had
insane.
a Jackie Chan character too at one point.
The original Tekken character renders are such shit. Let me share this with you guys. These are so bad, they're great. Here you go. Tekken 1. This is what you chose on screen as one of these people.
Look at him.
Look at that bullshit.
Look at him.
It's so bad.
God. Yeah.
Look at that stupid
I like
thing.
that there's Jack and P-Jack. They already knew the direction.
Oh yeah, Jack was already getting multiples in that first game, but look at Paul. That had to cut his hair off. It goes up another 5 inches or something.
His head is really going for the gold too.
Yeah.
I feel like they made a character and they went, it's too much like Ken, and somebody just did the like elongate, like the little Mario tool that you play with at the start. Just went, right?
Yeah.
Is that Paul's neck or a mullet? What is going on with his neck?
Oh, in the back there.
Yeah, that's something with his head. It's not his hair.
The muscle that only Paul has.
There's another one where, if you get a good look at these guys here, this is like,
jeez.
I know. Look at the robot. It's so bad, dude. They're so bad. Look at the sumo wrestler, whatever his name is. E Honda, not E Honda,
not E Honda,
not Honda. Yeah, the freaking I don't know.
Ford Taurus.
Yeah. I was trying to think of another car company and I couldn't do it. John saved us from the abyss. All right, there's that. Go seek it out. Final Fantasy 14 revealed Dawntrail expansion's new job, race cinematic. They did the full thing and more at the Tokyo Fan Fest. John, do you stay up and watch this and like stream it and stuff? Or didn't stay up?
I didn't have to stay up that late because Tokyo time, as it turns out, is just kind of prime time watching for us. But
sure.
Yeah, they showed the full trailer now. We've seen it. We've seen they're adding female Hrothgar to the game. The big announcement is we now finally understand Yoshi P's Ninja Turtles shirt. Do you remember that way back when we did the US one? Yoshi P came out and said, we're not talking about what job's coming in, but he was wearing a Ninja Turtle shirt. He was like, get it? This is what we're doing. Pictomancer is going to be the second of the 2 new jobs coming. The first one was revealed recently in Europe. It was Viper. And the second one is Pictomancer. I think Pictomancer looks great. So everybody thought it was going to be a green mage or something like that. I wasn't excited. I'm not really a magic DPS guy. It's not my thing. And then if you want to click the second video that's on there, then they revealed the Pictomancer, which is a callback to Realm from Final Fantasy VI. She was the first and only appearance of a Pictomancer in Final Fantasy. I think this job actually looks really cool.
So what's the gist of the Pictomancer is what? Like they're a caster, but what's their thing? Like what's their jam? Oh, it's throwing paint around.
Yeah, so the idea is that so in Final Fantasy VI, they would paint enemies, which would then allow them to use enemies' abilities and attacks. In this, it's more that they paint, like if they paint a block of ice, then a block of ice falls on the enemy. If they paint, they can paint a creature and the creature might come out and summon them and, stuff like that. So it's all paint-based attacks. I really like how the particle effects for this class look. It looks extremely colorful and painterly. And even when it does actually draw something like an ice effect instead of the default ice effect, it's a very painted version of it. I think it looks really, really cool. So I ended up thinking, well, I'm going to play the Viper, the 2 swords class. And now there's this weird second option that I might be all in on now. Which is this painting class.
So when did they announce they were coming to Series X and S? Because that's on this title card here. Is that news?
Yeah, that was at the Europe Fan Fest.
I did not know that.
They had Phil Spencer come out and say that it's coming out on Xbox. I think it's late next month is when the beta for Xbox starts.
I missed this news completely. I had no idea they were doing that. I thought that was a Sony. Sony would forever keep that over there with some deal.
No, they had Phil Spencer come out on stage and everything. And,
forgot that whole thing.
Do we have a release date for this?
New expansion is going to come out summer. They're assuring summer. They're not ready to lock it in because they don't want to have to push it back like they did with Endwalker. But they've said summer of this year.
Am I playing Final Fantasy 14?
You might be.
Well, that's the other thing. That's the other question is was sent by a listener that Final Fantasy 14, they now have a VR mod for it.
Yeah, that might bring you in.
Apparently, the only thing I hate about the VR, the mods scene for Final Fantasy 14 is like, you're not supposed to... I keep seeing the same comments crop up everywhere. Yeah, mods are allowed, but don't talk about it and don't stream it because you're not allowed to have it. But...
VR, it's a mod, right? Duh.
Right. It's not official support.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You can choose if you want to do it. Like, look, the free trial's real good. You wouldn't be out a lot of money if you did just a free trial. I think you would be fine. In general, they crack down heavily on mods that are performance things. I have streamed Final Fantasy 14 clearly running a graphics thing on it.
Yeah.
And nobody has ever done anything. They just don't want you like flaunting it like crazy. But even then, I don't think doing the VR mod would get you in too much trouble. I don't want to guarantee it, but I think you would be fine.
Well,
it's
usually viewership. It's very specific viewership anyway. So I imagine if there's like 100 people that wanted to watch Final Fantasy 14, only 10 will sit around for the VR version. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not the same when it's flat screen unless there's something exciting about what you're playing in VR, which to play it's probably exciting, but to watch it might not be. Although Final Fantasy 14 fans, they're like something else, right? They really like the game and other people's playing it. So
yeah.
Who knows?
It is fun to watch. It is fun to watch other people experience. I think a big part of it is that I love the story to 14, but I think it's hard to take in exactly the full context of the story the first time through it. And I think once all the pieces fall into place, you're like, oh my gosh, these moments were so meaningful.
Yeah.
And I only 50% appreciated them in the moment. So you go watch someone else do it now with full context and everything. It's really one of those, it's like the Sixth Sense. Like you got your big, not that it's all like shock value. Like the Final Fantasy 14 story does not rely on like shocks and like, oh, he's dead all along or stuff like that. But what I mean is like, you get added context the further in you go that kind of shifts what your perception would have been of the early stuff. And as a result, I think you go back and you watch people do those early things with the added context, and you're like, oh my gosh, this hits even harder the second time. But I don't want to play 300 hours of an RPG to do it again, so I'll just watch somebody else do it instead.
Beau, did you ever play the WoW VR mod that exists? I don't know how it's being supported now, but for a while there was something like that.
I did like I a long time ago when I had my Rift 2, I did Vorpex into WoW, so I've had a feel for it in VR. But
did you like that? Like, does an MMO game feel good in that?
Well, the headset wasn't as good, and everything wasn't as good. So if there's something more current, I'd give it a try. Probably.
Right.
It can be fun to like just sit in the VR and experience it that way, but I don't know if it adds that much. But Final Fantasy is a little bit different of a beast, at least visually. So,
yeah. Do you guys remember back? Oh, this is a long time ago, 2009 or so. NVIDIA sent me their 3D glasses. So you still, I don't know if you noticed this, but when you do your driver updates, you're still updating 3D vision drivers.
I had those for a very short period.
Yeah, I had a pair as well. They sent me a pair, and it was, WoW was one game you could do it in. And I remember at first going, ooh, it's like I can reach out and touch it all. But then I used it for maybe 5 frickin' minutes and never touched it again. Just didn't care after that.
That got sent back.
Yeah.
I didn't keep that, but yeah, it was a thing I tried for a little bit.
Yeah, that was back whenever it was like the year Avatar came out. Everybody was pushing 3D. TVs were coming out with 3D capability. Movies were pushing it again. There was a real effort to make 3D a thing again, and I'm kind of glad it didn't happen because that was shit. I don't like glasses 3D.
Most of those experiences weren't very good. I still stand behind, like, people, they shit on the movie all the time now. I thought it was a decent experience at the time. I actually enjoyed seeing Avatar in 3D the first time. I still think the best 3D movie I ever saw was the movie Coraline.
Same.
I've never experienced a better 3D movie than that, and that's about the extent of me enjoying the 3D experience.
Totally agreed. That was my favorite use case for it. That, and I liked some 3DS things. Couple of games. That Zelda game, what was that called? Link Between Worlds?
Yeah, and I would turn it on every now and then.
It looked cool when you did, if you could get the right angle.
They did the drop down to different platforms thing. Like, that was really effective. I'd throw 3D on for that, but for the most part, I even did that one 2D.
Yeah, that one I would turn on and off just to show people, but then I'd still play the game mostly in 2D. Damn, that game was good. Freaking bring that to something, Nintendo. Slow-tendo. All right. I complain, but they're doing this a lot, so maybe they will. I don't know. What else we got here? New version of the PlayStation 5 controller has been seen in the wild. That is to say, the internet. It looks pretty much the same. The battery life is drastically better than previously.
12 hours off of a full charge.
Yeah, it's a lot better than previous model. Let's see, what was the other one? A lot of this stuff are the same specs, like DualSense charging station included. Oh, that's
included is different.
That is different. You're right. But like built-in microphone lets you engage with fellow gamers in online play. This is all there already.
Yeah, dimension and specs and all of that are exactly the same. So I wouldn't anticipate it to feel any different.
No, it's an iteration.
It's mostly the battery life and the charger being included is the big changes here.
I mean, 2 generations in a row, Sony has had the worst battery life on their controllers. Microsoft gets away with it a little bit because their ones with batteries built in, they do last longer, but then also the ones that don't, the less expensive ones, you're putting AA's in anyway. So they kind of get a little bit of a cheat around that, but my PlayStation 5 controllers die so fast. I hate it. So mine is mostly plugged in now because I use this one to stream in here. So that'll be how that goes. Let's see. Season 2 of The Last of Us has casted its Abby. This is an actress I absolutely love seeing in things. Her name is Caitlin Denver.
I was just going
to say her name. Caitlin Dever's her name. And you probably remember her from things like Justified. She played Raylan's, not daughter, but someone he was trying to help a couple seasons. She was amazing in that. Oh, I can't remember that one show with the people in it.
People in it.
I like her a lot,
forget
though. Now, John, you played that game to fruition. You know all about the Abby stuff, including the controversy around it. Do you think this is a good call?
I think it's great. Like, I trust them. Like I think we're at a point now with Last of Us. I watched that first season. Thought they did a phenomenal job. I think an interesting thing is, so this actress was actually a popular fan cast for Ellie for season 1. When people, back before we knew who it was going to be, a lot of people were like, oh, this is who they should get for Ellie, which makes sense. She looks a lot like Ellie from the game.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of logic there, and she would have done a good job. I think casting somebody that actually looks and makes you think of Ellie is a really smart cast for the role of Abby, based on the direction the story goes and all of that. We'll see. Obviously, one of the biggest characteristics of Abby from the video game is she was jacked. And I honestly, besides a couple of like little things here and there, that was not that relevant to the overall story and narrative. So I think there will probably be some people that just say like, well, it's weird, is she going to be able to be, like, is she going to bulk up crazy or anything like that? I don't think it's actually that important to the role. I think there's a couple points where it's relevant to Abby's character, but it's all stuff that could easily be, shifted or changed. And again, it's just at a point where like, I just trust them to do right with it. Like that first season was really good. Obviously, Last of Us Part 2 comes with a lot of people that didn't like it. I did. I enjoyed it. But who knows what they're going to do with the TV show. Rumor is they're going to turn the second game into 2 seasons of TV, which probably makes sense. That second game is a lot longer.
Yeah, that does make sense. And it makes sense for them to aim for a 3-season arc and maybe end it unless they have other plans past that. But thing is, I just remember the other show I saw her in that I thought was amazing performance. She was so good in Dope Sick. If you haven't seen Dope Sick, you should see Dope Sick for 2 reasons. Her and her role, amazing. And Michael Keaton, one of his best performances ever. Unbelievably cool show. If you missed Dope Sick, you should see it. It's also very enlightening about how the opioid epidemic even happened in the first place. But it's also just an incredibly well-acted TV show. It's so good. It's short. It's like 8 episodes and you're out. It's a one-off limited series. And it's on Hulu and you should watch it. It's really good. All right, moving on. Oh, speaking of actors, a new voice actor deal got struck, and most voice actors do not like it. Mostly because
they didn't even know about it.
Well, and that's most of the anger. They didn't have much say. Now, I have a certain occasionally mentioned friend here on the show that I meant to talk to before the show to see what his take was. I didn't have time. I probably still will. But most people are pissed, or it seems most people are pissed. Some pretty prominent voice actor names, especially in video games, do not like.
We have one in the chat. I don't know if he's still in there.
Oh, who was in here earlier? Who was it?
We have Dave Jones in here.
Oh, I didn't know Dave was in here. Dave, are you in here now? Or did you have to turn into a bear and save the world? Tell him.
He just is off. Sorry, I'm needed.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
And then off he goes.
Yeah. Somebody right-clicked somewhere. He had to go. Well, anyway, my point was that they're not happy, mostly because there was no real say, or they weren't involved in the decision making. So the story's changed a little bit since it was first announced. The SAG people, is it SAG or is it AFTRA? Is it both?
It's both. I think, like the whole acronym.
It's the whole thing. They're gonna
the full acronym.
SAG-AFTRA. Yeah,
they're going to put out all the details and have like all of the decision making and be a little more transparent about it. I think this is just simply, there's some decent good faith stuff in here from how I read it, and I'm not a voice actor, so I'm not trying to speak for anyone, but I think the real problem here, and I said this on the Daily Tech News show, is they just didn't involve the people who it matters to the most, or the ones that affects the most.
Yeah, but you know why they didn't involve them? Because I don't think any voice actor, there's a voice actor has zero use for this at all. Like, I don't know what negotiate. Like, I don't know what you negotiate for. It's like, what percentage of less work can we agree to? And it's like, it feels like the answers should just be a hard line. I think if you were to ask any voice actor, maybe Dave will say something in the chat, or maybe we'll find out something for next week.
Yeah.
It's just like none. Like that's why we're actors. We do the acting. Like we don't, like I think about you're going to Broadway, right? Do you want like machines doing the acting, or do you want humans doing the acting? And it's like, why is it different when suddenly you don't see the physical actor? I think is the logical thread. Like, it's acting. It's what we do. Yep, it costs us money.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if it's coincidental. This might be tinfoil hat, but we don't have it in our news. But Steam has updated its AI policy basically like the same day that this came out.
Yeah. It was like a day apart.
To allow for, maybe like a day apart, but to let more, AI games through. Like, you got to disclose whether it's first party or second party, but the goal of it is to indemnify Steam for AI bullshit and then let the AI stuff through. So you're going to be seeing a lot more AI generated shit on Steam.
Yeah, their thing is you have to disclose it, and if you don't, you're getting kicked. If you do disclose it, then they're just leaving it to the player. That's a very Steam thing to do, though. They do it with the porn games. They do it with all of it.
They like to be extraordinarily hands off and just put in legal language to CYA.
I guess we're all curious about the like what did they? So we don't know the terms, because I'm like reading this article and it like doesn't say what was actually agreed to. If it's only for like not primary production, but if there's any post-production work. Do actors have to give up the rights to their likeness to be used in an AI as part of getting any job? Like, you can't just be a voice actor and be like, sorry, I don't let my voice do AI. Is it basically going to be frozen out of the industry entirely unless you agree that companies can make imprints of your voice and use it?
I mean, basically,
however they want.
Yeah, like the language of it is, for the most part, makes it sound like the way the actors get their deal is that nobody can do this without their permission, is the idea. The problem is that doesn't account for kind of what you were alluding to, which is if somebody never gives approval to use their voice, then other weird shit starts to happen. Like, they don't get hired as much for some reason, or they, like, I don't mean blacklisting, but it's maybe a piece of that for not playing ball. So I have all kinds of concerns about it, just from my point of view, and I would love to hear from Dave or Liam or anyone who's listening who is okay letting us share their thoughts on the show, because I'm very curious about how you feel about it. Steve Blum, who voices characters in Mortal Kombat, God of War, World of Warcraft,
and everything.
A million
He's
things.
Another one of the well known for everything.
He's known for tons of stuff. He's a big name, and he says nobody in our community approved this that I know of. Games are the bulk of my livelihood and have been for years. Who are you referring to? So yeah, he's not happy. A lot of people aren't happy. They just weren't involved.
It makes sense because, like, we talked a lot about AI the other week, and we talked about, I brought up it's like a tool. You give someone a hammer and you have to judge the person on what they're going to do with it. This is one of those cases. Like, you can make a argument, and I think we talked about this, where it's like, hey, I became an artist not to design 3 different looking trash cans or graffiti art or what different stone textures are. That's not my interest. I'd rather put my effort somewhere else. In this particular case, when it comes to performance, there is no benefit to going, hey, we could have a computer do that for you. It just means less money for you. Well, it means less money and less jobs overall. Now, that doesn't mean, in my opinion, that all AI doing voice work in video games is bad. We played the finals, which the finals was scrutinized for. I think in a world where you are using AI voice in a situation where you wouldn't hire somebody at all because it wouldn't be feasible or cost effective or whatever, I think that's fine. But again, you're going to have a lot of people that go, oh, well, that's the way it was going to be. Like, but for the actors involved in this, like, I think there's really only a bad outcome. If there is a positive to this as an actor, I wouldn't know what it is.
Right.
Yeah. Because they work on gig. Like, artists are usually in-house with an annual salary, benefits, etc. and actors work on gigs.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not like
contracts.
they're like, come on in and act for us year round. Here's some benefits. It's like, here's 13 days of work, and here's the union rate.
Yeah, and there's
now we
only
don't have to call you in for day 14 to 17 because we'll get an AI to do the rest.
Right. And there's only one, there's only one Matt Mercer. There's only one. It's like Hollywood this way. There's only, there's Tom Cruise, and then there's 100,000 actors just barely making it on contract work. Like, there's a sense out there that people are like, well, they're in games. They must all be doing great and living in high-rise penthouses downtown in L.A. It doesn't work that way. Like, they got to scrape, and like any other business,
I wonder too if they're not collateral damage to, like, because this is SAG-AFTRA, it's not just video game actors. Mm-hmm. So Disney's thinking about it doing Luke Skywalker and trying to make a deal, and then the whole voice actor industry gets, shit on because of some other sector, right? Like,
yeah. I'm
curious to see what it is.
I'm also torn. I'm torn between, like you mentioned, the finals, John. I'm torn a little bit on what anyone even thinks is of AI, and that's going too far in one direction or the other. Again, not speaking as a voice actor, but when I walked by an arcade at age 14 and I heard Sinistar go, Sinistar, run, whatever. When I hear those voices, or I hear one of these things, they're gonna play one from. Let's see, this one like this. Come on.
You have found my treasure.
All right, so you're walking by Gauntlet. You hear a guy go,
you have found my treasure.
Nobody was going, I can't believe you used a computer to do that. Well, it's
right.
I realize that there are differences now, right? The stuff is so good that it sounds good enough to replace people, and it's also a mass market thing now, and it's not what it used to be. I know there are differences. I'm not trying to compare these directly. But at some point, I kind of feel for the finals guys, because on the one hand, all they really need is for very short quips that are dynamically based on the action. So if somebody says, team whatever has overtaken the zone, you want to be able to say that and not record infinite amounts of audio so that you have enough to sample from and have a bigger install package. All those reasons. Those are reasonable reasons to use a robot to do your thing in that game. And I think they're being unfairly treated as a example of the problem. The example of the problem is way different than that. That's Ubisoft with a multi-$200 billion thing or $1 million project where they're replacing everybody with computer voices.
Right.
Or
that's
maybe
different.
Like you come in, record primary lines for the main launch, but they use AI for the X-Pack and you don't get that extra work.
Right.
Or a sequel.
Or to even use maybe even a safer example that I know Beau has mentioned before, it is extraordinarily unlikely that the day would ever come or will ever come that Blizzard goes, you know what? Let's get a ton of actors in here and let's do voiceover for all of the dialogue in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, they're not doing it.
That isn't going to happen.
No.
People aren't losing jobs by somebody using an AI to read the voice line, the quest text in World of Warcraft. Because it's either they're going to do that or they're not going to have it at all. So I don't really get mad at, modders, or even if Blizzard did it to a degree, again, as long as it's not a case of, well, this is a cheaper way to do it.
Like we were going to do this, but now we're going to not cancel all our voice contracts and use a computer. That's not
right. Yeah. Like, and again, how is it being used? What is the utilization? But like, I'm not going to get mad at the modders for going, oh, you shouldn't use AI. AI is bad, for doing something that wouldn't exist without it. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a very tough zone to navigate. I think some people are going to feel differently about it than others. But for me, I'm not going to wag my finger at a mod maker for doing it. Same with people using AI to, up-res Final Fantasy backgrounds for the classic Final Fantasy games. Like that, nobody else was doing that. I wish Square Enix would do that, but nobody else was. So it's going to be implementation, but again, going back to actors, there is no discernible benefit that I can see if you were an actor to be happy about this.
Yeah, I just feel like it's perfectly natural to have a feeling about this, because it just feels like the end game with all of this for voice actors is the perfect outcome for video game developers is we never have to call a voice actor again.
Yeah.
Like it feels like, yes, we're sort of in this transitory phase, but like the wet dream of all these people is like, imagine if we didn't have to pay anybody. We just get a license. We license 10 workstations and it does all. We get We get some engineers who are already working on some other stuff, so we can just have them work 1 day a week or the equivalent of 10 full-time equivalent hours a week on generating voice, and save money that way.
Yeah, and remember, we're in the same week or so where OpenAI is making the claim, and they're doing it out loud. They're making the claim that if they can't just be exempt from copyright laws, that will hurt their business in training models on data. And I saw that. I couldn't actually believe it when I saw it, because I was just like, really? You're just saying it out loud, what we all assumed anyway, which is you're scraping everything. And now you're having to answer for that. And when stuff starts showing up, you're like, wait a minute, this looks like it was taken directly from a thing. And now they want an exemption or a little stifle their whatever. I cannot call bullshit louder than that.
Well, that's where my angle has always been is this term AI is that the general populace have been seeing AI for decades in movies. They think it's a magic robot. And it's just a photocopier, a very sophisticated photocopier.
Yeah.
And so they should not get an Xerox get an exemption? No. So you don't get an exemption either for your fancy photocopier. I know there's magic going on and great feats of engineering, and it can be like offensive to say it to people in the know. Doesn't matter. If it's not a sentient being, so we have sentience. I could admire Scott's art all my life and draw like him. But I'm not going to get slapped with copyright. It's just I've been inspired by him, and that's how I started drawing.
Yeah,
it's normal. All artists do this. They admire things, they emulate it, and they turn it into something all their own. So if a machine is designated as sentient and looks at art and says, I like Scott's art, I'm going to make cartoons like he does, then, okay, well, you're a sentient being, buddy. Just don't we have rules still. Just don't directly trace his art and pass it off as your own.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're inspired by his art and drawing his style, great. But if you're a fancy fucking photocopier that goes through 1 million CPU cycles to output things that no other photocopier can do, great. You're still a photocopier. You're not AI. Stop telling normies it's AI when it's not sentient. The AI means nothing. AI is not a sentient being like in a Steven Spielberg movie where you're like, does Haley Joel Osment have feelings? It's not that. Stop. They should ban calling it AI. They should call it fancy photocopier. They really should. They really should.
FPC is the new term. Oh, you got some.
This is like a 5 layers deep grift on everyone by these tech grifters that just want to yield results from a thing that's not finished because they're out of venture capital money or whatever the hell else.
Yeah,
it's impressive what it does, but it's not the real deal. The artificial word being the very key hint about all of it.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, hell no. And I'm on the voice actor side. Just dump it. Just take a big shit. Take all the AIs. I'll open my pants. I will poo all over it. Even if it's fantastic, because it's half-done homework.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'm ranting. I'm lecturing and ranting.
No. It's good. I'm glad we got this story because I wanted to hear takes, and that was a take.
It's a fancy photocopier. It does amazing stuff. We've never seen before, but it's still bullshit. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think we can stop it. A lot of things are bullshit, and it just doesn't stop anyway. So whatever.
Hand sanitizer says, "Is this a deep take?" I get what they did there, like deep fake, but deep
it's
take.
It's a deep state take.
Yeah, deep state take. Ooh, even better.
Deep steak Tate.
Deep steak Tate.
I don't even know what I'm saying. Deep steak Tate.
I don't know what you just said, but I'm hungry right now.
Yeah, I'll have a deep steak Tate.
I'm definitely hungry after what you just said.
Amazing. All right, nicely done. PSA real quick for BSG. Sorry, Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica players. Everybody, get ready. If you're still a fan of Battlestar Galactica, we got a public service announcement for you.
Now is your time. It turns out. Baldur's Gate 3 players on Xbox. Very exciting. You all got the version of the game, which is awesome. If you take screenshots of raunchier moments when you're romancing another character, which exist in a fair number on that game.
Or just walking around naked, as in my BG3 multiplayer, the barbarians constantly never wearing clothes because apparently they don't need to. They get the unarmored defense bonus.
And their wieners out and their vaginas. You know?
Yeah.
Both of them.
Both of them
I was talking to an NPC and like the pair of boobies walked by.
Yeah.
Just in front of my face.
Yep.
Like, okay.
There they are. Well, anyway, you can get banned. Now, I heard from somebody at Microsoft whose name I will not say because I want him in no trouble at all.
His name rhymes with Bill Pencer.
Bill Pencer wrote in. Definitely not Bill or Phil in any context, but somebody there who knows about how these systems work. This is an automated system. So it does automatic recognition of body parts and stuff and then flags data based on that. Like a lot of social media sites do, a lot of these things this is normal. This is another use, by the way, of large language model AI that you don't hear about. Anyway, the word is they're going to fix it so that that doesn't happen here because it's not meant to be happening. The game is the game and it's on the platform and they don't want people banned for this. So it's a systems thing and they're trying to reverse it. That's what I was told. Don't count on a date or anything weird like that. I'm just telling you that an anonymous, well, he's not anonymous to me, but someone you people don't know is in Microsoft. And he says,
I love that you needed to clarify that. Like people wouldn't know what you meant when you said anonymous source. They're like, well, if it's anonymous, how does he even know? He doesn't even know who he's talking to.
I just don't want, I don't want him to get in trouble. That's all. And so I'm way over explaining it, which I do sometimes, but he's,
we love it.
Yeah. He's a good guy. But anyway, the point is, go ahead and, well, maybe wait a little while till there's an announcement. But right now, there have been a few accounts that have been banned from this. So
I think you can. One of the things I saw in an article, and not from a shady deep throat contact over at Xbox
Scott,
and Microsoft.
My name is P. Spencer. Please keep me anonymous. I have inside information about the nature of Baldur Gate 3 players.
You can
Getting
turn
banned
off
for taking pictures of some boobies.
Yeah.
It's because your stuff is getting synced with the cloud. So you just Google it. There's some workarounds. Just don't upload, like no cloud sharing.
Yeah, don't share.
Because everything's designed just to be like it's on your screenshots are on your phone or whatever. Like just turn that stuff off.
Yeah.
And that way the bot you're not uploading porn in its eyes.
Yeah.
So
you don't want that in any form.
And maybe just don't take screenshots of Baldur's Gate 3. Like,
Well, I'm sure people saw it and went, whoa, did you see that wiener go by? Save. And then,
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but I think they'll fix it soon. You can share wieners.
Yeah.
With your buddies.
Get ready to share wieners with your buddies.
Maybe, assuming Scott's anonymous source is reliable.
Bill Fencer, what'd you call him?
Bill Fencer.
Fencer.
Bill Fencer.
All right.
I thought it was Will
Wheaton.
Chenser.
Oh, Chenser. Got it. All right. Well done, everybody. Now time for this.
Welcome.
Nope, that's I'm on the wrong tab.
Phil, that's Phil's voice message.
Still got some AI voices. Oh, wrong one again.
That's a good question.
There it is. We're going to do some text. Actually, one quick text and then a couple of quick phone calls. This text came from David. He sent it to 801-471-0462. Keep that number handy and use it often. He says, hey, again, just wanted to say Steam's private games functionality, which we were trying to do last week and have Beau hide a game as an example, is for the Steam open beta only. It's not officially released, so it's not in the retail version or the public version yet of the game. You can opt into it, super easy.
I did.
You did, and it worked for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I haven't hidden anything yet. But yeah, so we actually had a couple people on Discord post tutorials actually while the show was going, and then I think over the weekend after, and now with this text, we've had a lot of people. The first time we mentioned it, we're like, I don't know how to do this. Nobody said anything.
No.
Apparently, in that window between then and the second time we talked about it, a lot of people figured it out.
Everyone.
You do have to opt into Steam's beta client, and then when you do, you have the ability to right-click a game and say mark as private. But in addition to that, you can also, when you purchase a game, a little window will pop up to say, are you buying the game or do you want to buy the game privately? So it will also hide your purchase history. So you can actually mark it private from the moment you purchase it as well.
Yeah.
So just an interesting little extra on there. I was really thrown by the new buy game window because I bought something today. What did I buy? Oh, I bought Infinite Wealth. I pre-ordered.
Is it different
I
though?
like Beau.
nice.
I joined the pre-order thing.
Yeah. You joined
Well,
it.
yeah, there's an extra option now. It's like, hey, do you want to buy this game in private?
Oh, so that's just straight up part of the checkout. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's now added in the checkout.
I installed the beta client. Let's see if this works here.
I installed the beta version of Steam Deck's thing, and it's not in there. I have nothing to hide, but science and for the show.
Right. This is all for.
It's mostly for me. I buy some messed up shit. So
yeah, Beau buys some weird stuff. I don't
I'm
have
gonna
any
go hide
of
MythForce. MythForce is on my recent list, so let's go find MythForce here.
that. Yeah. It's not called MilfForce, is it? Because then
that's a different game.
Then you hide
Didn't
that.
you already buy a game, Beau?
I have Scarlet Maiden. Yeah, check it out, everyone. Scarlet Maiden.
Scarlet Maiden.
Mark is private. Okay, and now I go back to my profile.
And now you see if somebody else can see it.
Oh shit! No, I didn't. I privated the wrong one. Oh no, I did private.
Yeah.
No, I did private MythForce. It says unmarked is private. Now I go to Gorath.
Yeah.
And
let me
still,
check.
Still
John,
on my list.
Hold on. Let me look.
Let John
me
do
look,
it.
though.
Because John's logged in as John. That's where it'll count. And also, this may be a thing only for two beta people. Both have to be on the beta.
Let's see. Gorath.
It should say Steam VR, Deep Rock Galactic, and MythForce.
No, it says Monster Hunter World.
So you don't. You see it, but John does not. That's the whole idea.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it worked.
Awesome. So it worked.
Yep, they worked.
Sweet. Porn games, here I come.
Yep, get in there.
And actually, how many games does it say you have in your profile, Beau? So, like, when you look at your profile and it says how many games you have, how many does it say for you?
629.
Okay, I see 629 as well.
Oh, so you see total number?
So I see the total number, but then if I look at the list, if I click it, I see 683.
All right, hang on. Try looking again. Reload my page.
I still see 629.
Yeah, so it doesn't.
But that's just a number. That doesn't tell me what it is.
No, that's
just.
Yeah, but some internet people are pretty good at oh, he's hiding 10 games. What could those games be?
Yeah, but then they'd have to
pornography.
Guess. They'd have to guess. Just make sure you mark some hidden ones that are stupid and old and no one,
I think my policy just keeping out in the open is probably the best one.
Yeah, I don't.
My policy is just assume everybody has all the weirdest porn games installed and just accept them for the weird person they are.
And then when they come back and they have none, you're just like, oh, that's nice. You're
what somebody plays in their private life, it doesn't impact me at all.
No, I don't.
I think what I dread about just even playing the porn games, and I don't like you chicken I recently played, is just like someone messaging me while I'm playing them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's weird.
Subverse, eh? I'm like, why did you initiate a conversation with me?
Yeah.
Like it's like less that I need it as private. I guess you can just go offline.
Yeah, you can show offline. But that's lame if you do want me or John to ping you or something, even though it's not about your porn game.
Look, if I'm playing Subverse, I don't want anyone to ping me.
No, nobody ping you.
And listen, this isn't a reverse thing where now you got to ping me because I asked you not to. Like, just don't do it.
No, don't do it. Do you want Beau to be your friend? Beau is Afraid. That's a movie.
When your friend, not just me, any of your friends, if they're playing Subverse, just let them play Subverse.
What is Subverse again? What is that one?
Subverse is
I'm gonna regret asking this. What was it?
No, it's like it's a video. It's like Mass Effect, but boners and boobies, basically.
Okay. All right then. I mean, the thing that everybody wanted out of Mass Effect.
Why do I have this on ignore? I don't necessarily want to ignore this game.
Ignore what?
It come up as a recommendation at some point.
Subverse?
I typed it because I wanted to know what it was, and because I'm not streaming my computer and I'm at no risk of showing it to anybody.
Maybe you didn't want your kids to walk in on you, looking at the trailer.
I locked the door.
Dad, what's Subverse? Well, it's like Mass Effect, but with boobies and vaginas. Thanks, Dad. What are those?
Mass Effect? It's like Subverse, but softer.
What's a vagina?
It's actually more of a CRPG than, but yeah, it's.
John, let me ask you this: can you look up my thing and tell me how many games are on my profile? I want to be embarrassed.
Sure, let me take a look.
I have no hiddens, so I'm not in the beta. Well, it wouldn't matter. I guess
the weird thing is when I click Beau's game list, it shows more games than what it says on the front when I click it.
Oh, what does mine say?
Hold on, I gotta.
So apparently, I have. It says game 629, but when I go to my all games list, it says 683.
Yeah,
but
that's what I saw too.
One of the things you have to account for is there's some hidden weird shit. Like when you buy a game, like I bought Rust, and Rust has some weird server thing.
Oh,
and then Rust.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get more than one executable.
That's true.
A purchase.
Some are multiplayer only executable. It's weird. You're right.
Yeah.
Scott, I show you on your profile as having 1,842 games.
Yeah, so that should be closer to 2,000. What does it say on the other one?
When I
You've
click
got 1,000 hidden games? Holy shit.
I don't have anything hidden.
When I click it, I see 2,112.
Yeah, see, 2,112 is correct, but I can't imagine 100 games. Not 1,000, Beau. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, we know who's buying all the porn games.
But 100 games is still a lot. I don't know. Well, it's not quite 100, but whatever that 80 games is, I don't know why it is.
You have 4 perfect games, Scott.
What are they?
Alba, a wildlife adventure.
Yeah, beat that game.
Batman, the Telltale series.
Yeah, like that game.
Dungeon Dashers.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
You unlocked all one of the game's achievements.
Yeah, I only had one.
Which was apparently the prerequisite is have an awesome party, right?
Yeah.
And Soma. You have all the achievements in Soma.
Yeah, Soma was generous. The achievements were just, did you make it through this? Cool, here's an achievement. And I beat that game on stream because someone bought it and I put myself through hell. But here's the thing. I am not an achievement chaser at all. So if you see any perfect achievement stuff on Steam or any other service, it's because those games had easy achievements and I didn't even have to do anything to get them because I don't care about achievements at all.
Although, if I could just bring up one other question here while we're talking about degeneracy and Beau. Beau, is your mini profile image a bunch of ladies all snuggling?
Oh yeah, I thought that'd be hilarious. Yeah.
So that's showing just fine.
I've totally got a. I definitely 100% have a degen hover. Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Beau has 7 perfect games.
7. See, that's less than I would have expected. I thought you were more of an achievement chaser on stuff you beat, but maybe I have.
I grabbed a few in recent times. Like a dragon I perfected in The Man Who Erased His Name both this year.
Those are on there. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm a Yakuza franchise guy.
Does Orc Massage have 100%, John, on there?
No.
Okay.
It's his 7 is Hades, which is really impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Yakuza Like a Dragon, Banished, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, Stacklands, and he has the single achievement for Counter-Strike 2.
There's only one for Counter-Strike 2?
Yeah.
It's like logging in.
I think it's for logging in, but how does only 16.1% of players have this achievement?
Yeah, that's weird. That seems really weird.
What does that mean?
Makes me special, I guess. By the way, see, I'm showing you my playtime on Orc Massage. It's only 4 minutes, so just FYI.
Well, now I feel like I should get Orc Massage because now I feel like your review was inaccurate.
Also,
it wasn't good.
I don't want to hear about
That's why it wasn't great, so I logged out. Okay, maybe I gotta finish it to completion. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, how much of the massage did you actually experience?
Yeah.
Just not much. It was janky. Like you forget when you don't play a porn game for a little while. You know, like, oh, this looks good, and then you get in and you're like, oh yeah, this is like 20% quality of a norm. Whatever target they're hitting for quality, it's like 20%, but it meets the 100% because boobies. Like that's.
By the way, Trixler's in our chat, and he's noticing that 1842 is in there. Yeah, it's a weird little city builder. It's like an old West Town thing.
1842.
Yeah, I think he's just seeing. I assume people are looking at my profile. I don't know.
Oh, is everyone going through your profile?
Oh, it's totally fine. I have nothing in there that's even remotely distasteful of any sort. It's just all there. It's just games. I just have a lot. I'm sorry, 18.
Distasteful.
He's saying 1,842 games total. There is a game in there called 1842.
A lot of people forget there's 3 people on the show, I think.
No, that's 100% it. You're totally right. There are a ton of codes. Some of these way before I met you guys, like just decade and a half.
I'm just teasing. I just made a joke. I'm just making a joke.
You know what? Now 2 decades of code acquisition. That's what that is.
Yeah. Although we have been doing the show as we established earlier for almost a decade now, so you know.
Insane.
It was before you guys. 20 years ago. They got these codes.
That is wild. So look at this. Yeah, it's called 1842. Well, anyway, that's a fun little city builder. So, side note. Let's go to these calls real quick. This is one from, same number, by the way, 801-471-0462. And if you'd like to email us, you can. All right. It's talktothecore@gmail.com. Please keep those coming. Especially voice actors. I want to hear from you this week and see what you think of this deal. Anyway, gameplay leak for Wolverine. Here's a call about that.
This is Scott Walbeck. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but on YouTube they have gameplay of the new Wolverine game for PlayStation 5. It's been out for about a week now.
Yeah,
Bye.
so that stuff, that's part of the leak, the footage that was leaked from the big data leak that they had over there in Insomniac offices and stuff. And I think the gameplay in those videos looks early and fine. Everyone's freaking out.
I didn't look at it because usually leaked footage doesn't look good. I think, we all remember the GTA 6 leak. It's 6, right? That's 6. What we're on.
We're
right?
on 6. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The GTA 6 leak where everybody was like, this looks like a bunch of geometry. What is this? This looks like a PS2 game. And now, we're seeing the trailer and people are like, wow, this looks really good. Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine what it coming out when they want you to see it actually does.
Yeah, you should see your burger when it's just a bun and a red piece of meat. You should see that before it's finished.
I'm not faulting anybody. I'm not trying to make fun of the caller or anything. Anybody that wants to go look at it, you're free to look at it. I'm just telling you why I didn't go look at it, because I don't want to get myself, all worked up over something that, probably going to be very different.
Yeah,
it undermines the developers who want to show a thing when it's in good shape. You wouldn't want... What's a common thing people can relate to? Like, you wouldn't, if you're making a casserole, you don't want people to come see it when it's halfway.
No, that's my point with the burger thing. Like, why?
Always like, come over and look at my casserole.
It's like, hey, you guys want an ice cold Coke? Here. Oh, I'm sorry, that's just the tumbler with nothing in it. Well, that's not Coke at all, is it? Like, this stuff's stupid. By the way, I saw the stuff. It looks M-rated as hell, and that's all I really care about. I want a hardcore Wolverine game, and it looks like they're making one. So good enough for me. And it's early, and of course it looks like shit because it's early. This is Insomniac. What do you think they do over there? What do you think GTA does? When those people were losing their minds about how 6 looked bad in those leaks, that was a real head scratcher time for me. That's the day I went, is social media worth it for humanity to even
Well,
be here?
you have to keep in mind that game, 5, is still on the best-selling games list at all times constantly. The audience for that game is the broadest of the broad. There are people that probably are like, hey, I need to get that for my game station. You're like, and that's where I play it too, on my game station. Great.
We don't have any game dev actual experience between the three of us, but what we know is still a mile more than the average person who just tunes in for their Call of Duty or FIFA, or you know what I mean.
Right. Right.
And those people play GTA. GTA is a tentpole franchise.
Oh yeah.
So you're probably seeing a lot of comments like, how do these people even get jobs making a game that looks like this?
Yeah, because they're the dumbest commenters. It's just that, you know what, John, you're right. Beau, you're right. What's happened is humanity gave everyone a megaphone. And we all thought it was an amazing idea in the 90s. We're like, yeah, dude, the internet, everyone has a voice. I don't know if it was such a great idea. I mean, maybe it is. We just got to be better about blocking out the ones that suck. And
I think that the worst part about all this is not just that, but that the fact that stuff gets traction. I was watching the H Bomber guy video because I'm just watching his library, I guess, and it was about when people are burn things, when someone gets pissed off and wants to boycott and they take their Nikes and burn them.
Yeah,
protests, Colin Kaepernick stuff. That results in huge sales for the companies every time they do it. The boycott has the literal reverse.
Yeah.
So all these companies want this found marketing apparently, where they want people to burn their shit because it's gonna make the stock price go up. They're gonna sell a bunch of stuff and it's free marketing basically.
It is, and it's also to me has always been so stupid because what it meant was you see a guy. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If you're boycotting something by burning it on your TikTok video. the idea that you went and bought 4 cases of beer to then throw them in the ocean or whatever you did, poured them out, shot them with a gun, whatever you did, you're stupid. You bought the thing you're trying to boycott so that you could shoot the thing. So you didn't even get your money's worth out of the thing you bought. And all you did was drive sales, because Beau's right about that end of it.
And you drove sales up. Like, you didn't encourage a boycott at all. You were an unwitting agent of the company selling shit. Like, and I'm like, how do we fix it? Like, I don't think the internet, I don't think that's fixable. Like, I think that's like, it's more valuable to have it in front of your eyeballs by any means necessary. And the more polarizing, the better, because the more people see it. And there's a bunch of people that are like, I don't agree with this guy. I'm going to buy some Nikes.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just,
I remember as a
actually
kid.
it's so funny because I had this conversation with my wife last night, because I have managed to let go of a lot of things that I get overly invested in and take far too seriously than I should. I got that way with Star Wars, which I'm still amazed that I feel that way about Star Wars. I got that way with just a lot of things I was very passionate about. One thing I have not ever been able to fully let go is my fandom for Spider-Man. Always been my favorite superhero, and when Marvel Comics does something that in my eyes messes with it too much, I take it very personally, more personally than I should. And I've been very mad about Spider-Man for a very long time now. And if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you probably know what I'm talking about. And so I for a long time, I swore off comic books. I was like, I'm just not going to buy any. I'm not going to support it till things in my mind are fixed. It's been going on for a long time. And now they have released, as of yesterday, Ultimate Spider-Man #1. They brought back Ultimate Spider-Man, except it's different now. It's not what it was. That Ultimate Universe is gone. This is a new adult Peter Parker, married to Mary Jane, has 2 kids. And it is, by all accounts, an extremely good reboot.
Heard good things about it,
and it is apparently phenomenal. And I was sitting there going, well, there's a part of me that wants to buy this, because that then sends a message that, like, this is Spider-Man, and I will support this kind of Spider-Man and not the bullshit you're pulling in Amazing and have been for a while. I will support this. But at the end of the day, all that money's still going to Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, the money's still raking in to the people that made the decisions to begin with. And I said, so what's the better thing to do? To not buy or to buy? And I don't know. But this conversation feels very eerie coming back full circle, because it's like, you just got to decide what feels right to you. Like, and don't accidentally support something that's mistreating you or that you don't want to support.
So if you really wanted to help Marvel, what you would do, you would have done before they made this reboot, is take all your Marvel comic books and your iPad with the digital comic books, throw it in a furnace and make a TikTok video and say, like, fuck you, Marvel. Here's what I'm doing with
that's where I messed
burn
up.
all of it.
Yeah,
and then you'd make Marvel a shit ton of money, and you wouldn't have any of your books, and you'd have to rebuy them all. So there you go. Because then you'd be like, well, okay, well, the boycott didn't really work, I guess.
You're right. I should have started a fire. Why didn't I start a fire?
Well,
that would have made so much more sense. It would have sent a clear message. Now, my message is all jumbled. I should have just lit something on fire.
Would have sent it. It would have been the reverse message. That's like, it would have been sales. A bunch of people were like, "Screw this guy. We're gonna buy Spider-Man."
I'm sure people bought that comic. And I'm sure they did.
Here's the thing, though. When I was growing up, old people would say, "There's a sucker born every minute," and I used to think, "Oh, that's a dumb old thing to say." Whatever. We're smarter now. Now I'm convinced that the only thing that was wrong with that statement was the minute part, and it's actually second. There's a sucker born every second, because my experience on the internet has exposed it. And you're all dumb. Not you guys. You guys are great. Everyone listening, you're awesome.
I'll be dumb. That's fine.
Everybody's dumb about something. That's why, honestly, just to kind of tie back to what we were saying, that's why I try to be understanding about it. Like, when people do get up in arms about, like, oh, I watched this footage for GTA 6 and it looks like shit. What's going on? I try to just remind myself that if somebody asked me any detail about a car, I would not know the answer.
Yeah, but you wouldn't blurt out what you thought was the answer.
There's things I'm extraordinarily... Look, Scott, me knowing something about something has never prevented me from having an opinion on it. I feel like, as much as I respect people who can only have opinions on things they're informed on, it has never stopped me. So I just try to go, like if I heard somebody actually say that to me, I would probably just go, hey man, it's early. I wouldn't worry about it. And just let people who don't want to live in the universe not live in the universe and have their thing. But you're right. It is hard when everybody has a megaphone and you're not seeing one person say it in earnest. You're seeing 100 people yell it as loud as possible.
Well, two things. Rusty Nails in the chat says we've also had about a 60% increase in population in the world since, quote unquote, the old days. So it's more like milliseconds now. But there are, more people, more megaphones. It's harder. John one time said something I never forgot, and I appreciated years ago now. It's been since we've been doing this almost 10 years. John said, if there's anything I've learned, this isn't verbatim because I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he said something about how if you've learned anything is that nobody really knows anything. Or they don't know.
Sounds like something I'd say.
They don't know everything they think they know, right? Something to that effect. And it stuck with me because I think it's true. Like people want to know things, and sometimes they want to know it so bad they'll say that they know it because they think they can discern it and they know what needs to be known, but they don't really know. And so I think at the time the context was something more social.
I feel like I've confused myself.
You may have confused yourself, but it really did stick with me.
To sound like Trailer Park Boys a little bit.
It really stuck with me. What you don't know unless you know.
It just stuck with me because I was like, he's right, though. Like, if I see something on the face of it, it isn't exactly what it is. Sometimes there's more to it, and I need to ask. Like, there's context, there's details, there's complications. It's not just simple stuff, right? What's in front of you isn't always the answer, and it always reminds me of those photos where from one angle, it looks like a guy stole a lady's purse. But from the wider angle, he's pushing her out of the way because a giant safe is falling from above and is going to kill her. And he actually sacrifices himself to save this woman. But if all you have is that original photo, you'd think this jerk criminal took her bag and ran with it. Hope they caught him. You know what I mean? It was that kind of thing. And I don't know. Yeah. I took that to heart. I thought it was a meaningful thing that you said that time. And I don't know why I
wish
brought it up.
I could remember it too. That would be.
Thank you for that, John.
Yeah, thanks for that. Life advice.
If I ever remember it, you guys, let me tell you, it's going to be profound a second time.
Yeah, and people are lousy at showing. Like Wicked Kitten just said it. People are lousy at showing they don't know things. They're terrible at admitting when they're wrong. It's a really cool thing to be able to admit when you're wrong. I try to do it as often as I am wrong. I don't think I always succeed, but it's a good thing to do. So, if I were somebody who went, this GTA footage looks like shit, I would now say, I guess I didn't understand how games were made. Oops, my bad. Like, do that. It's healthy. It's good for you. But instead, that kid's probably on 4chan beating off to who knows what.
It's disappointing that Disney's like reflection of the world turned out to be a lie. You grow up with Disney, and there's always a dumb character. Yeah. But I've never met that person in real life. The guy's like, oh, hey, Eddie. Do you think we should take the garbage and put it in the kitchen? Yeah. And they're like, no, take it out to the curb. Like that guy, or girl, doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They're all everyone just knows shit and lacks self-awareness. That archetype, maybe it existed at one time. I don't see them or
no. And even the kinds that do now are just, you'd never know who. I don't know how old they are. I don't know how mature they are or immature they are. I don't know if they're 40 and saying these things that they say on the internet, or if they're 12. It makes a difference, but we don't know.
Everyone's cosplaying as an astrophysicist. I think that's or like a super smart politician.
Yeah, or an expert in communicable diseases.
That's the era we're in now, where everyone's something really important that's not really what it is because they read it on the internet.
So you guys, we don't just talk about video games on this show. We talk about deep, meaningful human issues.
Whatever happened to just a classic dumb guy? Like, hey guys, what's going on today? Like, where's that guy? That guy
I don't know that guy. That guy doesn't exist. They made him
maybe
up.
He never did.
One thinks maybe those cartoons and movies and stuff were just making fun of people who had mental disabilities. That's
I choose not to maybe, but I choose not to believe that. I genuinely believe there was people maybe without neurodiversity
we just need people that know their snarf.
Yeah.
It's just like who are just like I don't read, I don't learn things. I just I kind of know a person like that actually, but even he sounds smarter than he should. Just fixes cars, goes to the bar, hangs out, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like does maybe go on a trip and do a fun thing every now and then, but is like, you know. But even that person is like, I don't know. There's just that. I'm just saying that Disney archetype. Maybe you're right. Maybe they were making fun of differently able people, and that's the only.
Maybe and it was just cheap. It was just a cheap shot back then, and it just grew out.
I mean, why not? There was a whole like racist China Donald Duck cartoon. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah. For every good anti-Hitler Donald Duck cartoon, there was some racist one.
Yeah.
They're all out there. All right. One more thing. This is a science call from Bobby Frankenberger, friend of the program, frequent guest, and also occasional step-in co-host on the morning stream with me. Bobby's a really smart dude, and he had this to ask. It's about 2 minutes long, so it's a longer call. I usually don't play these, but I like Bobby, and he has questions. Here it is.
Hey, Scott, Beau, John, it's Bobby here, Bobby from All Around Science. I'm listening to Core, and you guys are discussing this idea of, Beau raised a question of, why do we ask a question? And I had a science thought about that I thought I'd share with you guys.
Cool.
Now, I haven't researched this at all, heads up, so this is just kind of like my thoughts. If I had researched this and taken the time to do that, then I would have sent you an email and not bothered calling you.
He should be a host on this show. He sounds like us.
Nobody calls people anymore. But here I am calling you because I had to get the thought out of my head. Anyway, there's this idea in linguistics, and there's research that shows it has to do with subject and predicate, right? The sentence. You're asking, ask being a verb in this case, or an action in the sentence, right? And there needs to be a subject for that, right? You're acting on a thing, and this is just how English works. So when you're asking a question, you have to, when you state that you're going to ask something, the reason that sounds natural, even though it might be redundant, is because cognitively we need to have something that our actions are acting upon in order to communicate that sentence efficiently. There's a lot of research that shows that when you leave these sorts of linguistic structures open-ended and non-finished, like if you just have an action and you don't state what that action is going to be acted on, then it's actually more cognitively difficult. Our brains have to work a lot harder to figure out what you're talking about, and it ends up being less efficient, even though you might be using fewer words, because we have to think a lot harder about what the person's trying to say. So you ask a question, because if you don't ask a question, people are going to wonder, ask? What? There's an action, there's a verb there, but what's the subject? What is it being, what's going on? So anyway, thought I'd send you guys my thoughts. Now that I'm out of breath, I'm going
to go. Warm self out.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly right. Because, yeah, if I turned around and said, can I ask?
I'd say, yeah.
Well, sure. But
most people would say, ask what? You didn't finish your sentence. Be smart. Brain hurt.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Like,
you're saying that doesn't jar you at all? If I just said, can I ask?
I mean, you need to.
You're a broken human being.
You don't know. Yeah, probably. But
like,
I think you need.
If somebody came up to me and went, "Can I ask?" I'd be like, "Don't touch me."
I think you might be right, and it's just because we're talking about it that I'm paying attention. So maybe you need to pull like what you did with Scott earlier in Constantine, like just earmark it so that you can show me how I'm just being a pedant. Okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like just like maybe in a few weeks or something.
Just suddenly spring it on you.
Yeah, because like right now I'm on high alert. I'm like all like, oh, why do we say these things? I think Bobby had a great explanation.
Yeah,
I think we do lots of stuff because it sounds nicer, even if it's technically stupid. You know, because
it's like social.
Like if something rhymes, it's smarter. Like we can't help it. We're just like, yeah, I think that might be right. You know, like
he rhymed it. It has to be true.
Yeah, it has to be true.
If you poo, use two, and that's like a little reminder to use 2 pieces of toilet paper. But you can use any amount. What do you mean?
No, people do it politically all the time. They say Dirty Donald or Sleepy Joe, or when they come up with these cute little names, they think it means they think it reinforces their thing. So that's a negative example, but this idea of communicating with me, like if I said to Beau, so let me ask you this, which I do sometimes, to start the question. Or if I say, all right, well, here's a question, and then I ask a question. Like I see what he means. I'm setting you up for an easy catch. Not an easy catch. I guess
it's like the word ask is weird because saying is saying, speaking is speaking, asking is just another way of saying speaking. Like I'm not doing something funny like scratching my armpit when I'm asking. Like, throwing is throwing, scratching is scratching, saying and speaking or speaking. Like what am I doing differently when I'm asking?
Right.
That verb he mentioned. And it's like it's the same as saying. But if I was to say, can I ask you a statement?
Yeah.
You'd go, no, you can't do that.
No, it's not physically possible.
John wouldn't talk to me. He'd be like, get away from me. What is this weirdness?
Get out of
I can ask you a question, but I can't ask you a statement. I can't ask you an imperative. I can't ask you.
You could try, but not with that.
I mean,
attitude.
I think most of those things, like if it wasn't, even if it was blatantly obvious, like unless they were like showing it to me, if someone was just like, can I throw? Like, what? The game?
Oh, so we could.
What are you do? What are you doing?
Monica's bring up a good point because you might say, "Can I ask you a favor?" But why not say, "Can you do a favor for me?" I think I
said that last.
Like, why would I?
I sometimes say, "Hey, can I ask you a favor?" Or "Can you do me a favor?" I'll say a lot. But I think they work. They're just.
Can I ask a favor?
But you ask a favor because you're giving somebody the option to say no.
Yeah. Like if I say to Kim, "Can I ask you a favor?" Yeah. "Can you bring me a cold thing?" And she'd say, "Drink, like drink or something, like
$5.
But you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like it's a social construct, and also it's social when even if it's someone you don't know. If you see somebody you say, "Let me ask you, can I ask you this?" I don't know. There's a.
I'm probably overthinking it because of all the. We didn't talk about it last week, but this week I revealed all the languages I'm learning on Duolingo. So it's probably just like all this shit's like swimming around on my head because I'm like trying to figure out Korean letters. Like what?
The chat's
that'll
so weird.
do
like
it when you start to learn. When you start to learn other languages, it does suddenly make you question why you do things your way.
Yeah.
Like how they a lot of I think most other languages, right? They will put the descriptors after the object.
Yeah.
Which we don't usually do here. Like,
I'm learning Japanese too.
If we say if we're talking about a red ball, we'll say, "Hey, look, it's the red ball."
Yeah.
But in most other languages, it would be the ball that is red.
The ball that is red.
Like
right?
as far as the structure of how it is,
Right.
and it seems weird and backwards because I learned English first.
Yeah, right. I'm learning in the Japanese Duolingo. It's like ocha. Let's say is like tea, right? Ocha, and then you say ocha desu or desu. I don't know, but that means it's tea, but it's tea. It's in tea.
It's yeah.
Tits.
It's tits. It's tits.
Wait, what am I saying?
Tea.
But it's tea. It's tits. It's ordered differently.
It's the tits.
Yeah, it's the tits.
But it's like ocha desu. Kudasai. I think is please. Kudasai.
Yeah, no, it's true. Most languages that aren't English to have that kind of order change, and I don't know. I'm torn on whether or not we're doing it inherently wrong, but
it's just these rules are weird. It's just ask was just funny. It just seems like redundant. One of the
Yeah, let me. Ask
I guess if you don't
question.
really like the word ask, there's no one with a gun to your head saying you have to use the word at all. So why did I make a big deal?
Yeah, you never say. I need to fart air out of my butt. No, the fart is the air in your butt, right?
Wait, what?
You used a bad example because I got so distracted by what you said that I had lost the point.
Well, no, it's the same. It's like, let me ask you a question. Oh, that's redundant. Let me fart the air out of my butt. That's redundant. The air is the fart.
Nobody says that. Nobody's ever said those words in that order before.
Nobody said it. Oh, no, okay, I get it. Yes.
You're the first person to ever say that.
Fart is air. So
fart is the air.
Fart air.
Yeah, I'm not going to fart air. I'm not going to, it's the ATM machine.
Hold your nose. I'm
fart
about to fart
is not
some
the
air.
same as air.
Right.
Well, hang on. Isn't it?
Well, what is it?
I guess no, hang on. No, it's right.
The air in your butt. The air in your butt is a fart.
The air in your butt is air in your butt. It's not a fart.
Okay, I'm going to fart. I'm going to fart butt air.
It's not air.
If I said I'm going to fart butt air.
No, so air, like, think of Think of like a poison cloud, right? Like in D&D, you class cloud kill, and a cloud of poison. That poison cloud is not air.
No, it's not.
It's a
gas.
poison cloud. So think of the fart as a cloud kill in your butt.
All right, butt cloud.
It's not air. It's a poison cloud. So you don't call it air because I think air means like it's a informal term for like atmosphere of the planet or of the environment or ecosystem, not just any gaseous element. Like you wouldn't say
the chat's killing me, by the way.
Like you might say that the air on Venus is filled with methane.
It is. I think it is methane, isn't it? Or no, not methane.
Yeah. But that would be its air because we're talking about atmosphere, like the breathable space of the eco deal. The ecosystem.
Yeah.
But it's like not all gas is air.
That's true.
That's what I'm trying to say.
All gas. Wait, not all gas is air, but all air is wait.
No.
All air is gaseous form.
That's true.
A gaseous nitrogen. Gaseous
That's right.
oxygen.
That's right. That's totally right.
Yeah, and whatever else is hydrogen.
Sure,
atmosphere.
I guess so. Hydrogen.
Whatever the mixture is, it's air. I guess you would say though, like I walked into this room and the air was smelly, but that would mean there's something extra in addition to the air. Your fart is also mixed in with the air. So
there you go.
Air.
There you go. And by the way, just
technically, there might still be some atmosphere in your butt along with the fart. Right?
Of course, it depends on how small you go. Like
how many particles per million is your fart versus atmosphere?
It's not a case of this is just my butt air. Like unless Scott has branded his farts as a specific thing called butt air.
Butt air. Copyright.
So I think you could call it fart air, but I think pedants the only people that would offend is English pedants.
Yeah,
He's not calling it fart air. He's calling it butt air. He's farting butt air.
Well, originally it was farting air out of my butt.
We get it. When you say butt air, we know what we mean.
We know it. Yeah, we know what you mean with butt air. Air from your butt.
That's the beauty of the English language. You can say fart 100 different ways.
So wait, based on all this, I've just realized Yoda's the one talking like other languages when he does English. So he says, "Over there, I must go." You know what I'm saying? He's putting the thing before.
Yeah, maybe George Lucas was doing Duolingo and it inspired him.
I'm sure that was it.
Yeah, 1979, he was doing some Duolingo.
I mean, he was into Japanese. Maybe he was learning Japanese, not with Duolingo, but in a book.
He was turning Japanese.
I'm really glad that this conversation was launched by Scott talking about how many stupid people were in the world.
Dude.
Not us. He's like, not you guys.
Not us. Don't worry about us. You guys are fine. There's just a lot of dum-dums out there. Let me talk about my butt air for a little bit.
my tea that is the tits. Real quick from a scientific standpoint, the clouds over Venus are concentrated droplets of concentrated sulfuric acid, and it is so bereft of anything resembling water that it is many thousand times drier than the driest desert on Earth. So there you go. Don't let those droplets fool you into thinking it's liquid.
So thanks for that, Bobby.
Yeah. Thanks, Bobby. We feel scientifically satisfied.
Everybody, if you enjoyed this segment of Core or didn't, please contact Bobby, who's responsible for everything you just heard.
That's right. All Around Science is this podcast. It's actually very good and smart. That is it for our calls. Thank goodness. 801-471-0462. And the email address, once again, is talktothecore@gmail.com. Quick reminder that we are supported by you and you alone here on the show. Patreon.com/core show is where you do it. We got some new patrons this week in the form of Mike McDonald. Not like Michael McDonald, the singer. You know the one?
Yeah.
Anyway, Bag of Ducks. I see what they did there. Yeah.
That's a lot of corkscrew.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It takes Scott a minute. You can watch that one land. I actually watched it sail from one chat window to the other as it hit Scott.
I'd actually forgotten that ducks have that weird corkscrew wiener. I forgot all about it until you said it again. Anyway,
a whole bag of them. Yeah.
Matt also, it just goes by Matt, Ray Bones, Tim Gorin, and Justin Gordon. They're all brand new folks this week, and we love them. They get no commercials ever. They will get pre-show and post-show content every single week and monthly benefits, including an upcoming special host episode by Beau Schwartz himself and some art from me. All right? You can't get it any other way. Just got to go look at it, sign up for whichever level you want, and help support your favorite video game podcast that talks about real dumb shit at the end. Patreon.com/core show. That's patreon.com/core show. Everything else is at frogpants.com/core. And we'd love to have you here live every Thursday, most of the time, unless we change it, at 4 p.m. Mountain currently until the time switches back over and it'll be 5 again. But right now it's 4 p.m. Mountain. So come watch us live or check out the show on the archive, whatever you feel like doing.
Any mashup or still?
No mashup. Still waiting for Jamie. He's got one coming. He told me he has more clips than he knows what to do with. So he's going to make a bunch of content. It's on its way.
Oh, sorry, I'm just excited. I had to ask.
I'm excited too. I'm glad you brought it up.
One more week, everybody. One more week.
Forgot to mention it.
Or maybe many more weeks. I'm not speaking for Jamie.
Yeah.
Next week, you better do it.
Subtle push from Beau this week there, Jamie. Get that going.
Instead of pulling a Johnson, that's how you pull a Schwartz.
Pull a Schwartz.
This impossible thing's happening in 7 days that I have no way of guaranteeing.
Hurry up and get it because Schwartz is afraid. Anyway, well, don't forget to watch Beau's Afraid, everybody. But it's the homework this week.
Yeah, Beau's Afraid and MacGruber.
Which it's such a weird dichotomy between those two. Anyway, that is it for us. How about Grandma to tell us what we played this week so that all you whiners say we don't mention it enough and it's not in the show notes or something, even though it is. Beau, or John, I mean Grandma.
I can do it this week if you want.
Hey, Grandma, give us the thing.
Little fast Grandpa.
Yeah, no Grandpas allowed. Grandma, what do you got?
Well, if you don't know what they talked about because the past 10 to 15 minutes of the show somehow wiped your memory, I wouldn't blame you. So let's talk about the games that were somewhere in this video game podcast. Well, they all played Deep Rock Galactic. They played it all together online. And Scott played Horizon Zero Dawn, ChillQuarium, and Shapez with a Z. John played Yakuza Like a Dragon, Final Fantasy X, and Sea of Stars. And Beau played MythForce, Dungeons of Eternity in the virtual realms. And then he kept playing WoW and Baldur's Gate 3 with some people.
He sure did. And it sounds like it's going great. Here's what else is great. Our good time here on the air. We'll be back next week with more. Go play some video games. And we'll see you next time.
Get more at frogpants.com.
I don't know about you guys, but I could use a little excitement.
That's a fun fight in that game.
Wait.